welcome to Rock and Roll Medicine. I'm Danny Spinks. We have our guitar 6-string panel today, and 1 4-string, I guess, and me who does not. So, I'm your host. I'm the shit show coordinator, supervisor here. So I just thought I'd let you know. I figure we'll go through with your top 5 favorite guitar players because I know we're all different, and I've struggled all week to try and figure out what my top 5 are. I know my top 3, but my top 5 was a little difficult for me. So we'll kind of go around the horn. We'll do in some introductions. So no, I don't care. It's up to you. It's your list, man.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to put them in by number.
Yeah,
it all means so much. And I feel bad putting the guy I have at number 5.
Yeah. I did so many great guitar players too, right? It's like, man, how do you I'm going to nudge out this guy for this guy?
Yeah. I thought about the same thing. I was like, man, I like so many guitar players. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to whittle it down to the ones that I've seen live, right? Okay. So I can like do that. And even then it was a struggle because I'm like, oh man, I've seen this guy or I've seen it. And then I listen to, I'll be driving, I'm listening. I'm like, oh, how can I forget that guy? So
like I did mine off of how the rhythms and you can come up with all the riffs they come up with. I didn't do it by soloing because you can't do that.
Right.
It's got to be a combination for sure.
Yeah, of a lot of things, right? I mean,
songwriting is everything, man.
So many great guitar players. I mean,
what good is the solo if the song sucks?
Thank you.
Yeah, that guy could be a great guitar player if you yourself don't necessarily feel it. Some guys are really good, but
I took it as like the ones who moved me the most, right? Either made me want to play like them, or there was something about their playing that was like, man, that's just so emotional, or it's talking.
Exactly.
Like some people just like they talk to you, and it's like, man, that guy's just so great. But then you can turn around 2 minutes later, and there's another guy staring you right in the face that's just as good or better or different. That's going to take you another direction, So
true.
It's tough, man, to come up with 5. It really is.
It was. I mean, it'd be easier for 10, but I figured, I want to spend 14 hours discussing 10 different guitar players. So I guess what we'll do is we'll go around the horn. We'll start with Justin. I'll let Justin do an introduction, and then, give his number 5, and then we'll go to Kurt. And
me, Justin?
We'll do it that way. You, Justin. Oh, yeah, I forgot. There's 2 Justin. Justin 1 and Justin 2. or just in time.
Yeah. My number 5 is Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean,
nice.
I hate even putting him at 5 because he's just so unbelievable. And but there's the other 4 are just mind-boggling, and so I had to start with Stevie Ray Vaughan. He is everything that a guitar player is supposed to be, from the top to the bottom, all of it.
He's got a good blues. He's got everything,
He had technique. He had vibrato. He had songwriting skills. He could sing. His tone, that strat, just everything was just fuck, man. The only one I can even think of, and I never got to see him. I never got to meet him. I never nothing. But goddamn, I mean, he's the man for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, his soul flowed through his playing. I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
You could feel it too if you put on anything Stevie Ray.
He flowed like water.
Him. Oh yeah, he's living and breathing that stuff.
Yeah, 100%. For sure. Just unreal. So
all right, Kurt.
We're just doing one at a time.
One at a time. You're number 5.
Okay, my number 5, and no any order, but Adam Jones. Like I said, I like rhythms, I like riffs, I like, and he does it all with the riffs, and he's just amazing to me how he just comes up with this shit.
Who does he play for? Adam Jones.
Tool.
Cool.
Oh, duh. Never mind.
He's very,
I'm like,
very.
how come I don't recognize that friggin' name?
Yeah.
Everybody concentrates on the
Because it's not Danny Carey, and it's not.
No, it's not. It's just another good ass drummer. Yeah, no, Adam, he's just got it all. He's not like a dick about it. He just does his shit, and it's heavy, which I love. Heavy, melodic. It's and it just fits.
Not flashy. Not
No,
flashy,
he's not.
but again, he's got that feel, man. You
Yeah.
yeah.
And he pulls it off all live, just as well as he did on the record. So I like
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen it a couple times.
Definitely.
For sure.
up there.
His use of effects is really interesting as well.
Right. That too.
He like puts everything together.
In the right order, yeah. And again, this was in no order. I didn't
Yeah.
like you. I don't want to put him at number 5, but
Yeah, it's tough, man.
it was just where he ended up.
Depends on the day what the list is.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I mean, for sure. All right. How about you, Ken?
Yeah, like I said, it was tough coming up with a list of 5 because there's so many great ones. So I took it as like I started thinking about when I was learning how to play, the people that really started, like I said, moved me in some way. So my number 5 guy is Alvin Lee from 10 Years After. When I was a kid, Woodstock, like 1969, he did "I'm Going Home" at Woodstock, and he was just so fast. I'd never seen anybody play that fast or that. Like he was just sweating that song out, and I want to be that guy. And I got to play as fast as you possibly can. Well, that was the thing back then. Like, and then it was you had to learn Eruption when Van Halen came out. But back then, if you couldn't play "I'm Going Home" by 10 Years After, where I grew up anyway, then you were a shitty guitar player. So you sort of had to learn that song. And he had some like great songs that were well written. I thought like. What was it? I'd Love to Change the World is another song that like 10 Years After came out with. Great songwriting, really cool blues rock riffs that I really liked. He played an ES335 with stickers on it, which I thought was really cool at the time.
One of those.
So he was my number 5 guy. He moved me to want to play guitar and play really fast and be like a rock and roll star kind of guy. So that's why I picked him.
Awesome. John. Mr. Adler.
Gary Holt.
Oh,
Another good
Gary
one.
Holt to me, Exodus. That album in particular, when I first heard it, 85. And I had heard Metallica, Kill 'Em All. Okay, yeah, that was different. That was my transition from Ozzy. I was a big Randy Rhoads fan, and obviously he's going to end up in there. But that album in particular, there was just something about it. And again, this isn't about solos or flash. Just for me, his riffs are just, hey man, every time I hear, oh man, I just want to get up and punch something. I mean, it's
Overhead and Killing Machine rules, dude. Riffs on that.
It's just so, and really, in my opinion, it was so far above. Yeah, Slayer was Slayer, obviously, but there was something about that album and that sound and his riffs that just, more than any other thing I'd ever heard, just made me want to get up and just move. And he's still writing killer riffs. I mean, you can't deny it. He's just and a cool dude.
I knew he
was, and a cool dude.
He was, yeah, I will say that too as well. I knew he was going to be on your list somewhere. I knew it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Gary Holt. Come on.
Yeah. Well, he's done some good things too with Slayer as well, being able to fill in.
Well, yeah, and if you think, when that happened, I'm sure everybody's like, who the hell are they going to pick? it's
some big shoes
who
to
is
fill.
who is going to embrace that replacement, Jeff? Well, Gary Holt was. Who's gonna deny? Who's gonna throw shit at that guy? Oh, he sucked. You know what I mean? Fans like you can't say shit about that pick.
I don't think there was one person that said, "Oh, he can't do it." I think they were all like, "Okay, yeah, Gary will work."
That makes sense.
Slayer's the one band that like, if those fans don't like you, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly. If it had been some obscure guy off the street that nobody knew, and even if he was totally good enough to fill in, that would have been terrible for that guy. But yeah,
cool. Shane.
Oh, I was gonna say Ken Mansfield, but he's on the panel, so. Ooh. I still haven't picked one. Okay, so one that's not even on my list that just popped into my head. Peter Green.
Oh,
I've been trying to. I just learned "Oh Well" by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah,
and it's so freaking fun.
The layering, man,
super creative, neat tones.
Yeah. Plus, he was playing Greenie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kurt got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I drug my buddy Justin on. He's super intelligent.
That's a stretch.
Yeah. So yeah, we're picking his.
We needed a super intelligent guy on here because we got like 5 guitar players. So we need somebody.
Oh, he's a guitar player too.
Well, there you go. Double killer.
So what do you got, Justin? Then Justin 2.
I'd say my number 5 would probably be Todd Park Moore from Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Oh,
nice.
Why is that?
I'm not big into blues, and I mean I grew up with blues, but he's got more of a modern twist on blues licks, and doesn't necessarily play all the traditional things that you expect to hear. And more recently, I watched an interview where he talks about the reason he came up with his style is he never thought he was any good as a guitarist, and so his self-doubt was the one thing that shaped the way he plays. And so the things that he plays and his technique and the lines that he picks are, I guess, kind of like an anchor that kind of, that's what shaped what he does. And it wasn't until recently, evidently, that he realized he could actually play and he was better than he always thought he was. And looking back on it, some of what I've seen and heard from him makes a lot more sense now, I guess, based on what I've seen him say in interviews and things lately about that.
Cool.
Sometimes having like a almost like a block on you or like self-doubt can really create amazing art. You know, it's like, for instance, playing without a lot of gain.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was put in that situation, and it's about the only thing I can think of that kind of reminds me of that. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be really weird. And then I went for the solo and I had nothing but no choice. And that, who would have thought, you know what I mean? All of a sudden I was like, oh, I kind of like this. I still don't do it, but it will. It'll make you think in a certain way, and I would imagine self-doubt is similar.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, how when you're first starting, you got a lot of self-doubt. When you haven't played in a while, you have a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of it everywhere.
Shit, I get it every time I pick up the guitar.
I was gonna say, I walk around the house and I have a lot of self-doubt.
Really wasting my time.
Well, and speaking of gain, I when I was a kid, I couldn't get enough. And as I get older, the gain on my amp right now is at like 3, and I boost it like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
But it took me 35 years to figure it out.
Right. I'm in the same situation, man. I mean, I'm doing a like a Trower cover band.
Oh,
like
cool.
Tribute band. And to try and get that tone, right? Like, I mean, his amps were cranked, but he was just driving the front end with like the overdrives and stuff, right?
He's using the big tubes instead of the small tubes.
And I was used to just cranking the gain, like it goes to 10, let's put it at 10 and call it good, right? And that's
not necessarily the way to go
about
about
it. Like, what do you do when you don't have it? You know, it's like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna have to play.
Yeah.
You know? So.
It's a good thing you know how to play.
Yeah.
Oh, what note should I play?
You gotta rely on the backup, you know, fingers.
Yeah. Just lessons learned, right? I mean, and that's cool because I mean, I'm sure all you guys have been playing a long time. I've been playing a long time. I mean, to come up with you know, to learn something new at this stage of the game, you know, I'm learning stuff new every day. And I thought, shit, you know, other than learning the stuff, I thought I had it figured out, but I got nothing figured out at all. You know?
I know that every time I turn my Roto Vibe on, though, I play Bridge of Sighs.
You got it.
It's the fucking greatest thing I ever did.
You can sit and play that fucking song for hours.
I know, forever, dude. You know?
Hey, Ken, you got anything booked yet?
We got one gig.
When?
One gig. It's dude, don't get me started. It's like a fish fry, like a private party fish fry kind of thing.
For who?
On the 5th. It's like a private party. Jerry's got it set up. But I'll shoot you an invite. You can come down.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're probably making more than us guys that are playing originals. I don't know.
I might have an idea who you're talking about.
the guys that are playing
private party. That just bumps it up a bit.
It's probably about the motorcycles, and he's not supposed to say.
No, man. Anthony, he's in it. But yeah, I mean, I gave up trying to make money off music like years ago, right?
Yeah.
Because I like it, right? I just like it now. But as far as being like making $1 million and stuff, that went out the window years ago.
Yeah.
I love it. I still love it. And I've been playing a long time. I mean, I got my guitar sitting right here. I love it every day. So, yeah.
I was talking to my buddy Steven the other day, and it's like, why do we torture ourselves with this shit, you know? And it's like, but if I don't do it, I'm miserable.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I go on vacation, don't take the guitar, and it's like,
yeah,
you know.
You go on, you don't take it. She's like, how are you bringing the guitar for?
Yeah. Let's do the next one.
Well, I was gonna give you some news if you hadn't heard. Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro got into it on stage.
Yeah.
I saw that. Wow. I saw that.
They had to cut the session short.
Oh,
I don't know what it was about.
New York. Where was the gig at?
Like 4 people.
Where was it at? It was. I just seen it on Twitter right before I came on, and
he had to be restrained by like 3-4 people.
Yeah, Perry Farrell did. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wasn't there
See, I'm surprised Dave didn't.
Wasn't there something about his monitor mix or something? He was
struggling. He was having a rough night singing, evidently, and was having a hard time.
I've seen
guitar player.
Took it out of the guitar player, did he?
They said that he punched him, but it was more of like a nudge with the elbow, you know.
But what does that have to do with Dave? I mean,
Dave doesn't have anything to do with that.
I'd have shoved my guitar up his ass.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't hit him because I thought, okay, you know, they should have. He should have knocked him out. I've seen James Dixon before, and then Perry's never really sound that good. So
no, he sucks.
Just throwing that out there.
Dave was a grown up about it, though. He
I don't really want to throw that out there, but yeah. Whoever said, yeah, he sucks, I agree.
I never really was into them. They never really did anything for me. I mean, I understand Dave's thing, and I think that Dave's a good dude. And I mean, I don't really know him or whatever, but I mean, I obviously Perry's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it, Dave Navarro was my number one guy too on my list. Damn it.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so let's. Oh, I guess I'll do my number 5. My number 5 is Zach Wild. And he's just on.
Shit, I forgot about Zach.
he's not really on. Like, he's not like he's just one that I've always liked, and over the years, it's funny to watch him grow over the years from when he played with the Aussie to like Black Label to now. He's with the beard. When we first saw him, he didn't have anything. He was like a cute little kid,
pretty boy, right?
Clean shaven. Yeah,
I think same thing happened to you, Danny.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what happens. I think we just got lazy because I got lazy. That's the fact. I just got tired. I got tired of shaving. So, and then I said, "Oh, okay, we'll see what happens." But I mean, as for Zach, and then he's tatted up now. Oh no, he's not tatted up.
He actually the beard happened when I think he had to put one on for the movie Rockstar. And,
is that when he did it?
At the end, beard, and then he was like, "Oh, I kind of dig this," and then he started growing one.
Nice, because I was gonna say it was roughly around that time, and whatnot. But he's always been, but he's gotten bigger. Obviously, he's still lifting, right?
Oh, he's got to be. He's a big guy, man.
He's got a 6-car garage that's full of nothing but weights. I'm serious.
Boy,
he's got like a full on gym.
Really? Yeah, no doubt.
And he eats nothing but meat.
Wow.
On a carnivore diet. Yeah.
Damn. Well, anyway, he's my number 5. I just always like his style, his playing. I can pick him out of a crowd when he's playing. He's got those notes. He's got everything. And I honestly I wasn't sure how I felt when he got picked for the Pantera role. Not because I didn't think he could do it, not because he wasn't friends, because I was worried because he's got those so distinguishable. The way he plays is very distinguished, right? And I was thinking, can he do what because when you listen to Charlie Benante talk, he was like, "You're not going to even know it's me, you're going to think it's Vince." And I was thinking, well, I hope the same way goes for Zach. And apparently it's worked. For sure. I don't know.
Very, very easily, they could have got a guy that played all those songs exactly like Dime did. The problem is, much like Gary Holt, I don't think it would have went over too much. And
I agree.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's the only one with the pedigree that
had to show up with credibility.
Yeah, the credibility. Yep. And I don't know if you guys know, but
they were buddies. Him and Dime were buddies.
Yeah. Zach's one of my closest friends. I used to guitar tech for him.
Yep.
And he, I know for a fact that I actually used to play him Pantera, and he hadn't heard it. So it wasn't like Zach was walking around with a Pantera shirt on and a fucking Pantera tattoo. You know what I'm saying? Dimebag was walking around with a Black Label vest and a Black Label tattoo. So Dime very much looked up to Zach. And everybody tries to make them like they're of the same generation, but Zach was already world famous before Pantera got signed.
Yeah.
And so Dime was really into what he did. And I think that is the reason why it makes sense. And for Zach to go up there and not play like Zach doesn't make any sense at all. Because he could easily just plug into Dime's rig. They have it all in storage and his guitars, what everybody wanted him to do. But that's not what Zach does. And I respect him for that. And he caught some heat for it. He don't give a fuck. I don't speak for him. But obviously he doesn't. And so he plays.
I'm sure Dime wouldn't have it any other way.
No, he wouldn't. And
I agree.
Also, I think that he integrated. I know he integrated some of the gear into the rig so that he could make some of those effects happen. Which is getting him to change anything is not really going to happen ever. But for that kid, it's just like
I would say he's a little bullheaded.
Yeah, he just knows what works. And he's he's 4 pedals, no power supply, all batteries, because he's had it go wrong. and
Yep.
he doesn't want problems, and so he's
Yeah.
got it's just super simple. And if you want delay, have the guy out in front of house add delay. He's got a
Wow.
lexicon, the greatest delay you could ever want in the history of time. Why do I need a pedal for it when the guy can put it on the board, right? So, but when you're in that situation, you can do that, you know. But I think that you know, I think he's doing a great job, and I'm super proud of him, you know. And I think
it's tough, man. For sure.
But like what I was gonna say is that he didn't play Randy's stuff exactly like Randy. He put his own spin on it, and that's what you're supposed to do, because otherwise you just say, "Well, he's just a Randy Rhoads clone." It doesn't matter what you do. People are going to talk.
They were talking shit a lot.
I don't even want to. I was telling my wife the other day, I don't ever want to be famous, because if I was famous, then everybody's going to talk shit about you no matter what you do. The only comments on Blabbermouth is just people fucking trashing everybody.
Right.
And that sucks.
Yeah. That's why I don't post anything there.
Yeah, I don't involve myself.
I don't go. I did that twice. I gave them my interviews, and all everybody did was trash them. And I'm like, why in the fuck would I post them there?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, it's in the name. Blabbermouth. It's in the name. I mean,
that's true.
It's a tabloid.
That's true.
It's a heavy metal.
It is tabloid.
And it's bullshit.
And I just figured I'll just do my own. I'll do my own thing.
You should do.
I don't need anybody else. Yeah. So I just thought they would help. So anyway, that was my number 5. Justin, what's your number 4?
So this one's really hard to put at 4, because this dude is what made me want to play guitar. And I had to put 3 other guys in front of him, only because, I think we lost somebody. Nope, it just got mixed up. We lost
The
Danny.
host is gone.
Danny, where are you at?
We lost the host.
Danny, should I wait?
No, you're good. Keep going.
Keep going, man. Keep going.
He probably just turned his camera off or something. It was really hard to put, but the other 3 guys that are in front of that have had more impact on me. Well, not more impact, but it'll make sense at the end of my list. But Slash.
Oh.
When I was a little kid, I remember seeing Welcome to the Jungle, and I was like, holy shit, it's like a living cartoon character, you know, with the top hat and everything. But I always thought it was cool, because in those days, everybody had a fluorescent orange Charvel.
Yeah.
And he was playing and
that's it.
Yeah, and he was doing it old school, like Jimmy Page, and there he is. And did you
turn off my camera and everything
you
else
heard what
went
I
down.
said? Okay,
Yes.
so you can edit this part out. Anyway, and just the tone, you know, and then when Sweet Child of Mine came out, like, I mean, when you talk about songwriting and lead guitar playing, there's major, minor, harmonic minor, pentatonic licks, all in one song, all the melodies, that whole record, every record they ever did, the guitar playing, in my opinion, is just fucking amazing. And there's a reason why he's the most recognizable guitar player in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and some people aren't into him. They say he's sloppy or whatever. So is Jimmy Page. You know, part of his slop from what I was talking about before. He's not playing with a ton of gain.
Right.
You know, and so a lot of that, but it's more about, you know, the tone but his note choices. I mean, the solos in a song like Coma, Don't Damn Me, some of that stuff on the Use Your Illusion records is just, the guitar work is just absolutely insane. And I still aspire to figure out what he's doing, you know.
Well, you know, he plays 24/7, right? I mean, he does. They said he doesn't stop playing ever.
Same with Zach. They constantly, if they're not on stage, if they're on the bus, they're playing guitar. You know, I don't. I wish I did. You know.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with addiction. You know, he's quit smoking and drinking, so he's got to. I think it has a lot to do with that. With the
I think it has to do a lot with the
situation.
situation.
To keep busy.
You know,
He's
I mean, that's your
busy.
profession, and you're a
Well, that's true.
multi-millionaire. You're traveling around on a bus full of guitars. I mean, I would probably do the same thing, but instead I get to go run a fucking bulldozer every morning. You know, I hate it, you know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Slash, man.
Yeah. Kurt?
So, so my number 4, I like the way this guy approached the guitar. I like everything. He's innovative. Tom Morello.
Wow.
Yeah, he makes the guitar do shit that you're like, how the fuck does he do that? You know, and then you find out, and it's like, oh, I would have never thought about that. You know, or just his rhythms too. His rhythms, everything he does, every band that he's in, you can tell it's Tom Morello for one, and they're not the same. You know, they're not like Audio Slave compared to Rage is. It's not. I mean, you can tell it's.
I love the stuff he
Tom
does.
Morello.
Like the dead switch and the whammy.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like I mean, it gets that weird sort of.
Yeah, and you got it all down. Like he
At
just,
the same time, it's fucking awesome, man. How are you
yeah,
calling
he
that?
is.
Another guy without a lot of gain.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very stringy. You can hear the guitar straight into the amp, and that's admirable, you know.
Yeah, and you see them live, and they just got their regular practice amps pretty much just mic'd up. They're not going huge or nothing. You know, all these processors, they're just plug and play.
It's a half stack and some pedals, you know.
Yeah.
Isn't their first album that's got to be their first album? Like in the liner notes, they actually make a point of saying that, you know, there is no turntables used. This is all guitar, bass, drum.
Yeah.
Because it says some of the shit he does, it sounds like he's scratching on a turntable, and they put in the liner notes that there is no turntables, or however they put it in the liner notes. They were telling people, look, this is all by guitars and drums. There is no other.
Well, if you see him live, you can see he does it all live too. Which is another,
Yeah, that's great. It's not studio tricks. I mean, he can actually pull that shit
he
off
has
live.
good control over it too.
It's amazing stuff. Yeah.
Well, and he went to Harvard, didn't he? He's smart.
Something like
He's
that.
a smart guy. He's that smart guy you were talking about. How about you, Ken?
Number 4 guy. I put Jeff Beck as my number 4 guy.
I figured he was gonna be on somebody's list.
Amazing guitar player, right? Emotional. The stuff he does with the whammy bar and
the volume knob.
Yeah, volume knob, limited pedal. He just uses a Rat maybe, and
Crazy.
that's probably about it. But I mean, some killer like Freeway Jam was like one of the first back ones that's like, wow, this guy is just fucking awesome, you know. So
different.
Yeah. I like he did the Les Paul stuff at the beginning, and then he went into the Strat, and I'm a Strat guy, so I mean all the whammy stuff that he does. I mean, it's just amazing how emotional he can be, or could have been with the whammy and just a little bit of I don't know if it was like a Rat or some kind of fuzz or something that he was using, but I mean minimal stuff, but fucking amazing stuff coming out of the other end. You know, it's just like
dynamic.
Like really cool, different stuff, and I don't know. He was a big influence, and I loved his playing, and what he could do was amazing. You know, for what he was using, it was just amazing. Basically, guitar amp, you know, and the rest of it's all here in the hands and the whammy. So cool beans.
I mean, he played with a lot of people.
He inspired a lot of
It wasn't
people.
like,
And that's when you make a mark like that, when you inspire so many, there's a lot of good players that have named Jeff Beck as a major influence, and that's something.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, because I was waiting. I knew he'd be on somebody's list. I'm like,
Sure,
he's
I'm
gonna
sure.
be on there.
I think as we get closer to the top, then everybody's going to be maybe. I don't know. We got a diverse audience here.
I think there's gonna be one or two that are gonna overlap.
Yeah.
I already know why.
Well, I wrote down 6, so just in case.
I got like 15.
Oh, you overachiever! What the hell?
Well, I didn't want to do a double on someone when you go, okay, well that's
right. John, what's yours?
Well, that's funny, Kurt, you said that, because my next was going to be Stevie, and Justin covered him. I don't think, you know what I mean? But there was a guy that I don't like know his full catalog. Terry Cass.
Oh,
Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah. 25 or 6 to 4, man.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that
was the first time I ever performed live. It was 25
really?
in the school band, yeah. And the school teacher had me bring in my guitar, and I was too loud, and she put me back on the
no, but I seen, so this goes back, got to be, he's 5-6 years ago. There was a documentary on Access TV, and y'all should check it out. It's called The Terry Kath Experience. And what it is it's his daughter and her search to find his guitar that he custom made. And obviously they go into the band, his upbringing and all that. But I never heard of the guy. I just seen a thing. I was like, what? What's this? I was bored. I was like, I'm into music. Like, cool, I'll check this out. And wow, that dude was so amazing. So it's like Stevie. Like you watch him live playing and he's just, you watch Stevie and he doesn't even have to look at what he's doing. It's just flowing out of him. And Terry Kath was the same way. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough, Apparently, in that documentary, they talked about how he probably was never going to be in Chicago anymore. He didn't like the whole using horns and all that stuff. He wanted to be more traditional. But, you go back and listen to some of his stuff, like 20 or 624 Freeform Guitar, which is just him doing a bunch of weird shit,
Another great one.
Yeah. So I was on the fence with him, and Justin brought up Stevie, so I thought I'd throw Terry Kath in there.
He's your replacement? Is that what you're saying? What?
Kind of. I knew somebody throw Stevie in there, obviously, but Terry was in there, and that guy was amazing.
I'd have been sad if Stevie wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, I figured Stevie was going to be mentioned.
Yeah, I'd have checked out. Who the hell these people you got in this thing, Denny?
I blame you. No.
Yeah.
All right, Shane.
I think the younger version of myself would be pretty annoyed with this, but Pearl Thompson from The Cure. What I didn't like The Cure when I was younger, and then after hit of acid and hanging out with some friends, I got to hear this album. And the guys' delays and everything were just amazing, and
totally.
And the best thing you ever heard.
It was, it's still good. Yeah, it held up.
I didn't like it when I was younger either, but now I'm like, cool.
Such good stuff. Mind expanding. I had a chance to see them in a Roskilde Festival in Denmark in 2001, and during Pearl Jam, a bunch of The Cure was going to play after Pearl Jam, and a lot of people got killed just because the crowd just rushed the stage, and so that put a damper on that whole thing. But years later, I got a chance to see him, and I love his playing. Great band.
Yeah, I worked at Schecter for a while as a setup guy, and they do a lot of guitars for The Cure, and I got to work on a bunch of The Cure guitars, and they're cool. They're like 335s and like stuff that like as like kind of a rock metal guy that I wasn't sort of used to, but then you get to plug these things in that it's out of your wheelhouse, and then you kind of play them and you're like, oh wait, I'd like to have one of these, like I see now how they got the jangly thing, or I see they got the Bigsby on it.
Yeah, the 335s are cool.
Yeah, and obviously like a Floyd Rose is a better better machine, but a Bigsby has a certain.
It's got some soul.
Yeah, it's got a certain thing to it, and that makes you play in a certain way. And so it's like, I gave up being a metalhead a long time ago. I don't even listen to it anymore. I play it, I write it, but I don't listen to it. I listen to like old country and pop and shit. You know what I mean?
You're a Swiftie? Is that what you're saying?
No, Prince, man. Hey, Prince.
Oh, Prince.
I can hear the Prince. Prince is cool.
Like, dude,
I could play his ass off. Prince,
dude,
I
mean,
good.
I
was wondering if he's gonna be on anybody's list. To be honest with you,
he should be.
Who do you got?
He's not on mine, but just all that stuff.
He's not on mine either. But he'd be in my top 10 for sure.
I always tell everybody there's only 11 notes. And how many things have been made out of those 11 notes? It's just absolutely incredible. I mean, not everybody is, but The Cure, back to The Cure. I mean, it's like they have some amazing songs, man.
Yeah, and that bass guitar, freaking great. Speaking of bass, where do you live, John?
Clipper Mills, California.
Right on.
Northern California.
He's up there. Yeah, so he's up there towards the hills, in the
Plymouth National Forest, man.
Good place to be if you're in California.
Yeah, pretty much anything south of here sucks.
Yeah, I'm from LA, so trust me, I know.
And hey, trust me, brother, I'm not shitting on where anybody's from or where they're at.
No, I'm with you. I'm shitting on it. I miss the Mexican.
Well, hell, you would know better than me. That
I'm glad I got out, though. We were talking about it before you guys came on, and it's a pretty place, but I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Where are you at now?
I'm in Oklahoma. About to move to Texas. But
that's been a hot place. Well, literally and figuratively, there's a lot of good reasons to move to Texas.
There's a lot of good reasons to move to Texas, dude, especially with what's going on, and that's where I'm going. But where I'm at right now, I'll tell you what, you can walk in Walmart with a gun on your hip,
and that's a beautiful thing.
Sounds like Idaho.
Yeah,
are they still doing that in Idaho?
And that doesn't mean you go around shooting people, but hey, that's what this place is.
It keeps everybody in check.
That's right. Keeps everybody in check.
If everybody walked around with a fucking gun, everybody would mind their fucking manners.
That's right. You don't go walking on somebody's property around here, dude. Your ass is dead.
Absolutely.
And the cops are like, well, he's here on your property. That's that.
I'm already on the watch list. I can't say anything.
Yeah.
John
too.
That's one of the things I like about it. I like that it rains when it's hot. Back in California, I'd have to wait months for everything would be dusty. Like it just rained this morning. Yeah. It's humid. But humidity brings life. There's deer running all over my yard.
Mushrooms.
Every time you reach I like reptiles. So, there's snakes all over the place all the time, and lizards and all kinds of life. There's a river in the backyard. I go fishing. I was telling Denny, I go fishing in my backyard.
That's awesome.
That shit in California, dude.
Yeah, you can where I'm at, but I don't have that in my backyard, but I can drive there's so many lakes, reservoirs around here I can go.
Yeah, I'm on 2,000 acres. I pay $800 a month for rent.
Yeah,
And my band could jam
property
fucking until
1 o'clock in the morning.
You would ever know. And that's beautiful, man. Firewood. I cook every steak on pecan, and I just go in my backyard and drag it up with my tractor and light it on fire and cook steaks on pecan. It's bitchy, man. Fuck California.
Primitive. Love it.
Anyway,
All right.
guitar players.
Yeah.
How about
Right.
Justin too? How's yours? What's yours?
My number 4 is probably Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in '93. You know, so
So did I.
I grew up on early '80s pop stuff, transitioned to Metallica and Guns N' Roses when an Appetite hit, and then when all that fizzled out in place of Nirvana, you know, my thing as a guitarist was, I think Kurt was grossly underrated as a guitar player, and his songwriting overshadows his guitar playing, which is not necessarily a horrible thing, but if you just focus on what he does on the guitar, I think he definitely belongs on some list.
Yeah. Like a hit list. He whack-a-mole all the people I love.
I hated it because I was like, man, like these guys are making all the stuff I love go away, and it was like minimalist. You know, now as an older man, I see the beauty in it, you know, and I understand as a musician that it really is the songs. Those records were fucking
Yeah, we needed shook up.
I liked it all. You know, it didn't. I didn't really see that it was all going to implode, you know, the way it did, and that I didn't see Nirvana as the broom that was sweeping everyone else away. It was just, you know, I liked it all. You know,
they did their thing with no bad
I could
intention.
argue all that, but I'm not gonna, because I don't think it was grunge. I think it was country. You're gonna ask me because Garth Brooks had all the #1 records. Country, all the chicks went to country. All the guys went to more heavier stuff. White Zombie, Nirvana.
Metallica and Pantera came around and kept it alive, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
but all the guys went there.
I remember the first time I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit." My friend's sister came in the room and was like, "Have you heard this?" And it was like dan and that drum fill in the beginning. I was like, "Whoa, that's heavy," you know. But then it switched MTV. Which I didn't like because I wanted.
It turned it like that.
You know what I mean? But Metallica was still happening, you know, and then
Well, Headbangers Ball just got heavier. Is all it was.
Yeah,
it did, but it wasn't on mainstream like it was when I was a kid. You know, when I Guns N' Roses, "Sweet Child of Mine" was on every other.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
well, when I think about the music that, you know, in my teens that grabbed me, the 2 songs are "Welcome to the Jungle" and "Smells Like Teen Spirit." You know,
interesting.
And everything in between, you know, and everything that influenced those.
A lot of the B-side.
I probably would have been into Nirvana if I was younger when it came out, but I was already engulfed in everything very thrash, and I just didn't like it. I appreciated it to a point. I do appreciate it more as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I don't listen to it, but I mean, there's a lot of things I don't listen to. It's not my thing, but I have appreciation for, you know, art form, good art form.
Right.
I appreciate it.
I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it.
I actually ended up being more of a Soundgarden fan than Nirvana, and Nirvana opened the door to Soundgarden, and I felt like Soundgarden was more of the in between Nirvana and everybody else, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I loved Alice in Chains from the minute they came out, and
I was going to say, my number four is Jerry Cantrell.
Alice in Chains and Soundgarden.
So Jerry Cantrell was my number 4, just because Nirvana wasn't, to me, they didn't catch me. It was Alice in Chains that catch me. Even seeing Soundgarden at the beginning, they didn't grab me like Alice in Chains grabbed me.
Dude, when I first saw Man in the Box,
powerful
2-part solo where it's like, I didn't know you could do that, where you could come in and play a certain part and then hang on to the note and then come in with another track. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, that is so heavy. And they're still I was in Canada with Danzig, and they fucking Alice in Chains and Motley Crue headlined. And when Alice in Chains went on, dude, I was like, I'd never seen them before. And it was with the new singer. Fucking bottom end. They bring like their own like additions to the PA system. The bottom end was like, I mean, earth shattering, dude.
Wow.
It's fucking gnarly. If you have not seen them live, I highly suggest it.
Oh yeah,
Didn't that bass player like playing like super dead strings? Like if he broke a string or someone changed his strings, he was pissed off, right?
No, I don't think so. I think he plays.
He liked dead.
But the main thing is not necessarily really his bass rig. It's more that they bring in a bunch of subs. You see, so they have their own semis, and I think they bring in a bunch of subs to add to the PA. And they're the only ones that use them. A lot of people do that. You'll notice, like, if you're ever in a situation where you're on a big festival, like let's take Ozfest for example.
Extra cardio arrays and supplemental stuff.
You're playing through half the PA, you know, and when Ozzy goes on, the full thing gets turned on, and it's just a game,
same with lights and
lights, all that
shit. Like a knitting factory.
Yeah,
we've had to bribe light guys before, so
yeah. Here's $20. Give me that.
Right. You fucking pay that sound guy and you pay that light guy, dude, because it makes all the difference in the world.
We got to open for Def Leppard, and we flip those guys $250 to even turn the lights on. So
yeah, dude. Otherwise, you know, it's
handcuffed.
And I knew some of them. Fuckers.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, I always, for me, you know, I'm trying to think if I've seen them before. I think I've seen them on a festival, Alice in Chains, but back in the day, we missed them. Kurt and I were going to Clash the Titans. As soon as we got there, they were like, all right, see you guys later. Because they opened up for Clash the Titans. They opened up for Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer.
And then, because Death Angel had the best pass.
And then the second time they were opening up for Metallica.
Put on that bill.
Yeah,
and they canceled and
on Metallica. Yeah, Alice in Chains canceled on Metallica. They put Candlebox in. Candlebox got the short end of the sticks because they got booed.
Suicidal was before them. They put
Suicidal.
They
should have swapped
Metallica.
But they didn't, and so I think I seen them at the Knit or on a festival, but it was a long time after that, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man! I thought I would be able to see him, and we didn't get to see him, and it was just really bummed out.
Lane Staley's voice,
yeah,
the most haunting voice in the history of time, dude. I cannot emphasize it enough. That I just fucking to this day, dude. Every time,
just listen to Nutshell. I mean, Jesus
Christ. Even both of them together.
MTV Unplugged.
Absolutely.
Unplugged. Right, Nutshell
on his deathbed, and they propped him up on a stool, and he fucking killed it.
Another guitar player that don't use a whole lot of shit.
Yeah,
Jerry. Yeah.
It's pretty minimal.
I've seen Jerry Cantrell by himself.
Feel bad he didn't make the list now.
He's good.
Yeah. Did you recently see him, Kurt?
Not recently, but I have seen him.
I was told this last tour that he just did, he's got a guy who's singing who sounds like Lane, like to a T.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to check it out.
Because he's got a new solo album out. Just came out.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much from it, so I can't really comment on it. So
speaking of replacing guys, imagine being in that Will Guy's position.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's a tough one.
Me and my wife were big Alice in Chains fans, and we were like, she was on the fence of it. I'm like, hey, he pulls it off live. He does.
He was cool. I thought he was cool when I saw him.
He still doesn't really, but
it's not the same. But hey, they're playing.
They are.
What do you?
You got to see Jerry and hear freaking Alice in Chains, man.
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't be able to see him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you want to jam. Right. It's the same thing with Stone Temple Pilots. It's like it's not the same, but I get it, man.
Well, I know.
Yeah, those guys deserve to get to play just because.
Yeah. Well, Lincoln Park broke the internet this week. I don't know if you knew that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they
Just,
did.
just where they were at.
I did not realize that it was going to be that big of a stink. To be honest with you, I
People are
thought,
mad.
they just replaced it. Because I knew who Dead Sarah was a long time ago, right?
I never heard of him.
You never heard of him?
Yeah.
You live in L.A. What are you talking about? You never heard of
I
him?
don't give a fuck.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I really did not expect the internet to break the way it did. It was just like, holy crap. So, but before we go to number 3, I wanted to. David Ford was supposed to be here and kind of had an emergency, but he posted me. He gave me this. These are his top 5. So he got Tommy Victor at 5, David Gilmour at 4, Hank Sherman at 3, Hetfield. I don't know if you know a guy named Hetfield. I don't know a guy named Hetfield. At number 2, and Tony Iommi as well as number 1.
Well, you got a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
tough crowd.
Can't forget about any of them guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a very interesting way to interlude into my number 3.
Okay.
Tommy Victor.
All right.
Actually, Dimebag Darrell was my number 3. But I worked for Tommy Victor, and Tommy Victor is a very good friend of mine. And
Awesome.
I was his guitar tech with Danzig. And when we first met, my band was playing the Schechter Christmas party. I think it was a Christmas party, some kind of party. And I knew that he was going to be there. And when I got off the stage, he was like, dude, you rip. And I was like, dude, you're Tommy fucking Victor. And I told him, I said, and a lot of people don't, maybe you guys will agree with me, maybe you won't, but Tommy and Paige Hamilton created the drop D chuggy tuning metal thing, in my opinion. And
I can kind of agree with that. Yeah.
I would just say I can see it.
Paige Hamilton and Tommy from Prong. And Tommy, me and Tommy have been buddies ever since, and I talk to him almost every day. We just argue over like stupid shit. But anyway, the
top 5.
Yeah, Tommy is a pioneer and a really interesting character. But Dimebag, man, the fucking, when it comes to metal, he's got the crown, dude. Like he fucking, I was.
He broke the mold.
He broke the mold, dude. I was the biggest Metallica, Slayer fan, Sepultura, all that shit. And I didn't listen to Cowboys from Hell first. I heard Vulgar Display of Power because a girl at school said, I said, what kind of music do you like? And she's like, I like Pantera. I was like, oh, fuck, what the fuck is that? And I went home and my stepdad had Vulgar Display of Power. And because he was a guitar player. And I pulled it out and I went in my room and I put it in and I pushed play and it was it was Mouth for War. I was like, holy fuck.
Sucked you right in, didn't it?
It changed my whole world, dude. And the thing about him and that band was that they were heavier than anybody else because they had that Texas boogie, that swing, and the fucking blues.
Ooh, that groove.
The groove, man. Like those other metal bands, the thrash bands and stuff like that were really stiff. And
they had a pulse to their metal.
Yeah, they were kind of white. You know what I mean? Fucking Pantera, dude, had that boogie like they had a 10-foot dick. You know what I mean? And it was like, it just changed everything. And then they every record that came out, they got heavier and heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
And he changed the course of heavy guitar playing.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's got heavy riffs.
Just the riffs, dude, the solos. I mean, he did shit.
Well, and the fact that you could just slow the tempo down and still be heavy as fuck.
And that's a New Orleans thing, you see, and that's what Philip brought to the situation, because it was like because you had bands like Crowbar, which at that time were like the Slug, you had, you know, and the Melvins and all this stuff that he was bringing into this like glam metal band that had these like incredible chops, that it was like, well, what if we add these influences into this situation, we're going to be the biggest band in the world. And they were, and it's a fucking goddamn shame that he was killed, you know. Because we would have Pantera, we would have multiple Pantera records now, but he just,
well, do you think they would have gotten back together?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because it's always been. I've heard it's always been on the fence. So
no, I know a lot of them people, and I think that they really, it was
just a matter of time.
Yeah, I with that Damage Plan band, I know that he wasn't happy with that singer, and they were starting to talk, and then it was over.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, it may have broken up. I don't know, but like all I know is that it's just a fucking goddamn shame, and it happened on the same day as John Lennon.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Weird.
And it's just, I mean,
I'll just say it. A bigger tragedy. Sorry.
Agreed.
That's my opinion.
All right.
I always thought it was interesting how the first Pantera, all those early albums that nobody even know exist, like not many people know exist, like how they were able to completely change their script, their sound, maybe not completely, but you listen to those early stuff before Cowboys. I mean, you hear Dime, and it's Dime.
The glammy stuff, or what?
The projects
they
and the
kind of change lanes, and they
evolved. I mean, as we all did, they evolved, and again, it goes to Tommy Victor. In my humble opinion, there are certain things that I don't know. I was not there, so I don't want to go on record acting like I fucking know. Tommy told me, he goes, I remember touring with Pantera, and we showed up in a van with a little trailer, and I had a half stack, and the bass player had a half stack, and the drummer had a 3-piece drum kit. And we were like waiting in a parking lot of like this fucking Kmart or whatever for them to show up. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this RV comes screeching around the corner with this giant trailer. And these guys come out of this RV with fucking beer cans and smoke and shit coming out of it. And we hadn't even fucking played the first show. And we go to set up for the first show, and they've got a fucking wall of Randalls and a wall of SVTs and this double kick drum kit, and it's triggered, and a lighting guy and a sound guy, and they just fucking smoked us every night. But I think that goes back to the Tommy Victor thing. I think that's where, because if you listen to that record, you know, there is some of that chuggy shit in there. But if you listen from like Cowboys to Vulgar, it gets tighter. It gets more gated on the guitars. It gets more, and I think that a lot of that comes from Tommy, and I think that a lot of that comes from Page, from Helmet, you know, and that Betty record. And but I could be wrong. Fucking what do I know? You know, like,
no, that makes sense, because in certain ways, Cowboys and Vulgar,
there's
a major shift.
Yeah, major shift.
And dare that I say this, I'm talking about this. I never thought about this before, but it's almost like Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like they got kicked
in. For whatever reason, it went woo.
Yeah.
Learned how to play on one album, got good.
Yeah. I think someone was in their ear too, and they're kind of like, "This is how it goes," you know. Whatever they learned on the road as well, you know.
Yeah.
I know. I remember.
Well, like
Kurt,
that evolving.
Yes, for sure. I mean, well, you can. I imagine they've seen what was coming, right? And what bands are going when you're on tour. We've seen them open up for Skid Row, right before Vulgar opened, and that was fucking amazing. I mean, that whole show. I don't think anybody knew what was going to happen after that because Skid Row was doing their heavier stuff, and then Pantera's coming out just hitting you in the face, and it was like, holy shit, you know.
Well, and I think too that I think some of those first tours they were out there with Exodus, they were out there with Suicidal, and they're playing Cowboys from Hell material, and so it was like we got to hit them where it fucking hurts, boys. We got to write the heaviest fucking record we can possibly come up with,
right?
And Metallica was happening at the same time, and Metallica was the biggest band in the world, still are. And, the mid scoop on the guitars, the clicky kick drums, which, you have to give it to Lars because you're not going to get those kick drums to come out through that big of guitars. You have to do something to hear that drum work. And Vinny being, an engineer at his father's studio, figured out a way, and still, in my opinion, when it comes to metal, has the best drum sound because everybody tries to replicate it, but it's never as good, and nobody knows the secret. And I've actually asked Sterling Winfield, and he told me, he said a whole bunch of rat gear, tons of compressors. It's a big fucking chain of shit, and you can't give away those secrets. You know what I mean? It's just
right.
Better yet, have to give
away.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard Pantera taped like a whole bunch of like silver dollars to their kick drum head and had the
So that I did hear was true, and I've actually done that. And I used to make little. We started with quarters. And
what was the effect like?
It works great. The cool thing about it is that. You don't have any double triggering, which you would have with triggers. So like if your bass player starts playing at sound check, in rehearsal, you got all your sensitivities set right. And then you go into the club and you start playing, and now the bass is running through the PA and the side fills and the monitors and everything else. And it starts making those triggers trigger. Now you're in fucking scrambling mode trying to figure out how to reduce the sensitivity on your triggers because it's making the kick drums vibrate or the toms or whatever. Yeah. But now you've adjusted the sensitivity, so now you don't have the sensitivity that you had. When you use the click, we always called them clickers. They had Danmar metal pads at one time that were like these round discs. They were kind of too big. So I used to make them at this job that I had out of aluminum and packaging tape for boxes sticks to drum heads. So we would package tape these clickers on there and then use the plastic end of a DW drum head, and you don't have any of the double triggering issues. Now, if you're Vinnie Paul, you have people that can work on that for you for each gig. But the metal clickers never fail. And so they work. It's a little bit, you lose some of the bottom end in your kick drum. So you have to make up for it.
Lame.
Sound guy, you're at the mercy of wherever you're at.
Yeah. Usually I got where I didn't trust sound guys anymore. So everybody in the band just kind of started turning their amps in, turned them up, get vocals and some kick, please. And drummer gets whatever he wants, but I don't want anything but whatever's on stage.
And that's why professional people,
I don't trust them anymore.
Yeah, that's why they pay them as much as they do, because without one, you're in deep water, man. So anyway,
interesting.
It's a nice little side note. That was a good combo. Kurt, number 3.
Number 3. Well, I originally had Dimebag, of course. So, but
let's talk about Dimebag.
Yeah,
we haven't talked about it enough.
John 5.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you should have to switch just because somebody else had one.
Well, I don't want to talk. We're just going to talk about. I want to talk about another one. John 5 is. I mean, he does amazing.
He deserves it. He's cool.
Yeah.
So
I just bought one of his CDs.
Really?
He
does it on a Telecaster.
At the Neurolux. My band opened for John 5. And
That's right.
Nicest guy down at the Neurolux. Did you go to that show?
Yep.
Yeah. It was cool because we were loading in and he was just sort of hanging out, and he goes, "Hey, do you mind if I, just like sit back here and warm up?" So we're like loading our shit in, and John 5 is sitting there like, doing all the John 5 stuff. But he was the nicest guy, like really, really, very accommodating, very sweet guy. And then that was one of my favorite gigs. I mean, the sound guy at the Nurlux had us, and I know you hate sound guys, Shane, and I'm with you, man. I fucking hate him sometimes.
Me too.
But that guy,
I like him. They need to make it sound good out there. Leave me alone. You got it.
The guy that night, I don't know what he did or what he was on, but he dialed us in. It was so great. We had the best stage sound.
Who was the sound guy there?
God, I can't remember. Like that was like Jesus. Like
was it a local sound guy?
Yeah, it was. I think it was the guy that used to work down at the Shredder, but I think he was doing Nurlux gig. But when he came back, he played his whole set, where he did like different songs and stuff from different guitar players. But he came back and played at the Shredder, and he was the biggest douchebag. He was. I mean, because there wasn't very many people there. Right, there was like maybe 20 people at that show, at the Shred.
Yeah, don't take it out on the people who love you.
I mean, he was an asshole, and there was a kid there that he was dressed up like him. He had like the face makeup on, and he bought like the shirt and all that stuff, right? And he goes, and John 5 fucks off at the end of his set and goes and sits in his bus, and this kid's standing outside the bus like, "Please, Mr. 5, will you sign my back and everything?" And he completely blew that kid off, and that just pissed me off so much because I mean I admire him as a guitar player, but I thought it's like, dude, you're not sitting in that bus, for because of those people.
Exactly fucking right.
I watched Black Crowes play for a totally lame crowd, and they were just glad we were there, man. They didn't. It could have been full. You couldn't have told the difference in their performance.
And then that's what you got to do. And I mean, it's someone at his level. And obviously, this kid, like,
burned everything.
Right? I mean, he had all of this stuff, the face mask and all of it. And all he wanted was a fucking autograph. And he stood outside the bus, and me and my wife were standing there watching him. And his mom was sort of standing off to the side, right? And it's like, yeah, come on, dude, come on out. And he just blew that kid off. And I lost a lot of respect for him. I admire his guitar playing. I think he's brilliant. And some of the.
Did you sign the kid's stuff?
No, you didn't. He didn't do it. I should have signed it.
I'll say it. Piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not right. I mean, like I said, some of the country stuff that guy does, brilliant. And the way he works his thing, excellent guitar player. But I don't know.
Oh, I guess he's in the right band now.
He lost it.
It's all about the kids, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it would have taken him 5 minutes to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Really appreciate the support. Hey, get a picture taken with you, and hey, get your mom over here, and we'll get a selfie done.
Like you said, he wouldn't even be on that bus without him, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So I lost a lot of respect for him as a person, but I still admire him as a guitar player, I guess. So anyway.
That's Ken's story.
That's what I'm going to say.
Hey, I followed you, man. My heart hurts for the kid.
My number 3
What's
guy.
your number 3, Ken?
My number 3 guy is 2 guys, actually, because I couldn't decide. It's Jimi Hendrix and Robin Trower, because I think Trower took a lot of stuff from Hendrix and sort of took it to a different level. You can hear a lot of Hendrix stuff in some of the things that he plays. Obviously stolen, right? Obviously. I mean, we're all stealing from everybody, right?
Yeah.
I just admire what he took.
That's borrowed.
Yeah, borrowed, melded into something else.
Giving it back.
I admired like it's very soulful playing. It's not flashy. It's not real super fast or any of that. The hammer-on stuff. None of that shit. I just think he took what Hendrix did, which was obviously sort of groundbreaking at the time, and took it a step further. And I think he's really underrated or underappreciated as a guitar player because. Man, the guy's still like he's 79 and he's still out there fucking playing. Oh, he's sick, but I mean,
is he really?
Yeah, I mean, he started another tour this year and he just turned 79 and then he had to stop the tour because he had a heart attack or something. But I got to hand it to the guy. I mean, he's still out there and he's still playing and he's still coming up with new stuff. And I don't know. I got to admire that, and plus the emotion in his playing. Again, not a lot of distortion, right? He's using that amp and he's using his fingers, and I mean you can hear the sound in his fingers when he's playing, and I admire that. I think it's very creative, and so I got.
It reminds me of Leslie West.
Yeah, another great guitar player,
dude, in a wheelchair, man.
Another great guitar player. I mean, it's so tough to come up with top 5 because as soon as you say one, it's like Leslie.
Well, we could. I mean, I could always throw in a bunch more.
Yeah, that's tough. Anyway, that's my number 3s.
Because it's kind of hard if you go into like priest mode or anybody who has 5 members, you're gonna go, okay, I like him over him.
Those 2 dudes,
really.
Both great guitar players.
Yeah, I mean, how can you? Same with the Scorpions or any of those guys, Maiden, So,
I mean, we could sit here all day and all night and
sure. Well, we got next week.
4 guitar.
We can always do next week.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
I call another 5. Trust me.
Yeah.
John, you're number 3.
Well, before I start my number 3, I'm gonna piggyback on Justin and Tommy Victor because I think he made a good point. That dude did some good shit, and I saw Prong live at a small little venue in Fresno about 10, 12 years ago, and man, they were fucking amazing. They had Static X bass player, don't remember his name. Tommy Victor. I mean, what metal guy in that uses a fucking slide?
Yeah,
I mean,
and sings like,
and sings, and they were fucking amazing. They were. I can tell you about that show. We destroyed cocktail tables, and I got grabbed up by a big old bouncer. And but my number 3.
He's a funny motherfucker.
My number 3. Huh?
He's a funny motherfucker, dude. Dude. Like, I mean,
I'll tell you, that was out of all the shows I've seen, that I would love to revisit and go back to. That's one of them. I love the small venue shit. That's the good shit. You know what I mean?
Tommy was a sound guy at CBGB for a long time. Not a lot of people know that.
What's that?
Tommy was the sound engineer at CBGB for a long time.
Oh, no kidding.
When he was creating Prong, yeah, he was the guy that fucking mixed the PA.
Wow.
That's how old school New York fucking hardcore that dude is, man.
About 3 times the Prong is played here in Boise, they didn't even get mentioned on the bill. So I show up catching the end of the set, pissed off, and then some shitty band plays after them.
Right, of course.
But I love Prong. They're so fun. Such a cool, the whole freaking bass wah thing, and
unique, man. Unique.
That's a good word, man. And unique is good.
Unique.
Yes.
Separate yourself from everybody else.
That's right.
Be yourself.
Yep.
But I'm going there. My number 3, fucking Edward Van Halen. I mean,
I was wondering who was gonna get it.
Yeah.
We all know the first time we heard those, and the hammer-ons, but that dude just always seeing live stuff, and he always had a smile on his face, and he's just happy as fuck, again an innovator, bringing something new at a time that things were different, that were you know what I mean. He, again, a guy that inspired a lot of good players.
Sure.
Yep.
For sure.
What can you say? I mean, it's Eddie Van Halen,
He's on my list, and
he was on my list
for later.
You knocked off 2 people's list here, so I have to go.
I was gonna say I knew he'd be on the list.
Well, I knew I had to get that one out of the way. I knew somebody else had on there too, and anybody else expand on that. Eddie Van Halen.
I mean, the first time I think I heard what, you know, it was like, what the fuck, you know, an Eruption. Of course, everybody's played air guitar to Eruption. I mean, we had tennis rackets.
Sure.
You had to learn how to play it. You know, it's one of if you couldn't play Eruption, then you were a shitty guitar player, right? It's the same as like with.
He was a guy like Terry Kath who you know figured out and built his own guitar. He wasn't happy with the sound he was getting out of a four-bar guitar. He fiddled and fucked around, and I'm sure Denny, you're going to do a top 5 bass player list, and I can't wait for that one. But like Cliff Burton, you know, like Cliff Burton created his own rig. He wasn't happy with the sounds he was getting. He created his own sound. I mean,
yeah. Well, I watched an interview of him talking about how he created Frankenstein, and he just freaking drilled it, cut it, you know, made it into basically what he wanted. And they didn't even, and when it's a cheap guitar too, it wasn't anything fancy. And
I got a piss.
He fucked around with the pickup.
Yeah, he was trying to
around with the pickup. He figured out his own. He was smart about what in his own ways. Like, I don't like this. Maybe I can do this way. I don't like the sound I'm getting. And he built his own guitar. He wasn't happy with the sound he was getting of what he got at the store.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't only guitar; it was keyboards as well, right? He was piano, keyboards.
Well, yeah, there's that.
And, you know, he did a lot of stuff with that as well. And shit, I mean, I never knew anybody who picked up a drill with the pick on it before that too. I was like, wow, I never heard that before.
Paul Gilbert.
Yeah. Did you say Paul Gilbert?
Gilbert.
Yeah, he did.
From
I remember that.
Paul Gilbert.
Yes. I remember that. That dude put a pick on a fucking drill. It was like, yeah.
I don't.
He got his hair caught
that.
in it. he cut his hair. He got it caught in it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Had
Paul
a pick
Gilbert.
on the end of the drill bit. The pick spinning, and he was hitting the strings and just. Yeah.
He was in Mr.
Eddie. I
Big.
Mr.
Do you remember Mr. Big or
Mr. Big was freaking awesome.
That's Paul Gilbert. That's Paul Gilbert.
And Billy Sheehan.
Billy Sheehan?
Was
And
that
Billy Sheehan. Yeah. Who will be on the top 5 of bass players.
And then the other one was Racer X. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I remember that.
He was in Racer X as well.
So when did he do the drill thing? Before Eddie or after Eddie?
Well, no. Well, see, we're talking about two different things because Eddie just used the drill. Paul Gilbert actually put a pick on the end of a drill bit.
Yeah. Right on the end.
I thought Eddie was well.
Yeah.
But Eddie, didn't he just do like he put it on the guitar so it
just made it.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Gilbert
There was no pick on
There's
that.
no pick because if you put something up to your pickup, it will pick up the sound.
It was just the rotating motor on the drill.
Brush motor through the pickup to the amp, and that's the difference.
Yep.
Paul
That made that what?
Unshielded pickups or
He's talking
something.
about amazing guitar players and not mentioned.
Well, it's the same. It's the same effect that Steve Stevens uses with the ray gun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, I looked into that, and so I really, really liked the solo on Rebel Yell, and I was like, "How the fuck does he do that?" Because I thought it was like maybe is it a tremolo pedal where you have it maxed out, and then you shake the whammy bar to create the machine gun effect. And so I looked into it, and it's not. He actually, and I bought one because of it. It's in the other room.
He's got a bunch of them that all kind of do different sounds.
It's a cheap Chinese machine gun, like for a kid.
Yep.
Yeah, he pick up, and it goes, and they figured it out in the studio because I thought it was an effect or something, but it's a machine gun into the pickup. Same thing with Eddie with the drill.
Yeah.
Whereas Paul put 3 picks on the end of a stem.
I wonder how many sets of strings he fucked up.
No shit, huh?
And when he got caught in there and they all got caught around the drill.
Yeah. Which Eddie is on my list. So, but I'll save it. So.
Yeah, well,
I started with another list and I threw it away because it was too cliche and too obvious.
That's how it's going.
Oh, good.
What's your 3, Shane?
My 3. Do you guys know a band called Floater from Oregon?
No.
No.
I've-
Oh my god.
They're awesome. live.
They're guitar players. David Attenmore.
Who do you say? You say Floater?
Floater. They've
Floater
been around
from Oregon?
since their first album came out in '94, and
I think we all heard of Floater.
they're just fucking great band. They're a 3-piece band. Drummer died, and they wound up with another drummer. But yeah, this guitar player, first time I ever heard Floater was in the Torch, a strip club in Boise. I'm like, who the fuck is this? It's like
you visit a strip club?
I have. But yeah, and then somehow I'm like, what is this song? So then I started buying albums, and I'd listen to the first 30 seconds of a song, and I didn't know that Floater songs didn't develop until, they weren't in a hurry to get to the point. So I bought a few albums, and then I wound up popping one in one time and had my headphones on. I kept taking my headphones off, like, what the hell is going on? Is it happening in my headphones? And I had this album called Angels in the Flesh, Devils in the Bone for a year before I realized I don't know what you guys think of it, like a wall type quality album. The material, the emotion, the freaking heavy guitars and delay, and the bass player is off the chart.
I'll have to look that up, man, because I love shit.
Floater. Any album, listen to any album.
My wife turned me on.
I saw Floater in Baker City, Oregon, at a Chinese
restaurant.
Oh my god!
My wife.
Yeah, they played all these little shitty places, but they're awesome.
Keep trying, Justin. You get it.
Well, there's a delay, so you can't.
No, it's not really guitar player related, but my wife turned me on to a guy named Dallas Green from Canada. And I mean, fucking dude, we went and watched him live. I mean, this guy can sing like a bird, dude. Like it's like melting chocolate. It is absolutely incredible.
Wow.
And
what's his name?
Dallas Green.
Dallas Green.
City in Color.
Okay.
It is fucking phenomenal. It's not heavy. It's just, but I mean, it's just when it comes to like art, like just art, dude. Like it's just like if you like music at all, I don't see how you could dislike this. And it's just like he should be bigger than Taylor Swift.
Wow, everybody should be bigger than Taylor Swift.
He's probably not.
Agreed.
You gotta have the look.
It's just like, holy fuck, dude. And I mean, there's a little guitar solo here and there. It's not really a guitar thing, but like, it's like just fucking incredible. But I'm going to look into that, dude, because I'm really interested in finding stuff that isn't necessarily guitar driven, because I really like to listen to things that, like I said,
there's also an album called Glyph. Check it out too.
There's only 11 notes.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. So it's like what to see what people do with those 11 notes is just the most amazing thing in the world.
I've always thought Shane's voice was like melting chocolate when he's.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
That's the girls, Shane. That's the girls. There.
White chocolate, melting white chocolate.
All right, how about you, Justin? Too.
I got 2 on my number 3 that are kind of tied. Steve Lukather and Steve Stevens.
Oh yeah,
guitar players, man.
Both of them.
Yeah, what a productive dude.
They're just, like I said, I grew up overseas in the early '80s, and all of that really was a foundational part of my tastes. And those 2 guys are on everything.
Yeah. We're at overseas.
Woodbridge, Bentwaters, England.
Okay.
I was born in the Philippines. My dad was Air Force. I was born in the Philippines. We were at Bitburg, Germany, and then RAF Woodbridge, Bentwaters in England.
You're lucky.
Lukather is so good, man. He is
fucking
guitar player. Steve Stevens too. I mean, some of the shit that he comes up with, like with the effects and stuff, like the weird sounds and that. Really,
he won. He won. I believe that one year he won 5 Grammys.
Yeah. Have you heard his flamenco album he did?
Oh,
I heard he's off the chart with
Oh,
that.
you need to hear his flamenco album. It is fucking brilliant. It is brilliant. It is so good. I mean, he got right into the flamenco classical guitar stuff, and he put out a whole album. What the hell was it called? I can't remember what it was called. Check it out, Steve Stevens Flamenco. It's really different. A sort of a different take on Steve, because you expect like the pyrotechnics that he usually pulls off and everything. But this is like real. It's just him, a guitar, and it's very, very cool. Check it out. It's something.
I think what's cool too about, well, Lukather is obviously amazing, but with Steve Stevens, it's cool that like he's a guitar player for basically a pop rock artist.
Yeah.
Not basically, he is the guitar player for a pop rock artist, but has maintained that relationship for this long, because we all know that's next to fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Well,
they didn't for a while. I mean, he split for a while. Yeah. Okay. Well, him and Idol split up for a while. I don't know how long that while is, but I mean,
he made his mark on guitar, and
he did.
Flamenco Go is that album.
Dude, he really is. He did some really innovative shit and wrote, and he wrote those riffs, because I don't think Billy wrote them.
There's so in the vein of those two guys. If I was to think of like somebody more modern, somebody that I don't think really gets enough attention is Justin Derrico.
Who's that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He plays for Pink, and he's one of those guys that stylistically and just chop wise, it's like the things that the things that he comes up with and the hook that he lends to the songs. Yeah, you could put him right in that same list too.
Wow,
well, no one ever talks about him.
Another guy
you could put like Nuno Betancourt as well. And
he did some crazy stuff
on my list
lately,
but I watched him and he's not on my list. He was gonna be on my number 7.
Yeah,
but he should be on the damn list.
Guy.
I've seen him and he's freaking good. And he played for Rihanna and he's played for whoever.
Another guy that doesn't use not a lot of games.
I seen him with Zach and then Ingve and I think and Nuno, and I think it was just them 3. Oh, Steve Vai.
Wow. Oh my God! Is anybody going to bring up Ingve?
I almost did.
Not on my list.
No need.
All those guitar players are freaking amazing. I'll tell you that right now.
That Justin Derrico
guy. But you know what? You know the thing about Ingve? He doesn't eat donuts.
Yeah. So I did a tour with.
Who got that joke? Raise your hand.
I did a tour with George Lynch, and I was guitar tech. And
for who?
George Lynch.
Right on.
And
to be on here.
And we
Is
did.
he cool as hell?
Yeah.
No. That's what he's saying.
I love the
you paused. I seen you.
no, George is cool, man. But George is we don't agree politically.
I met George once too.
But George is a nice guy. He actually invited me to play, come up after on the last 4 songs and play guitar with him. And so I would tech for him. And then on the last 4 songs, I would come up and play a bunch of the Dawkins shit. And then a bunch of the, and then like Mr. Scary, which is a pain in the ass. I had to have
that is one of my most favorite instrumentals ever.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I had to have
that's a great fucking song.
I had to have a chord chart on the tape on the stage just to remember the way that in the end the chords if they modulate. It was really a bitch to learn, and then I would like double the solos with them and shit. It was really, really neat, man. Probably some of the biggest shit I've ever done. But anyway, we did a tour. It was co-headlining with Ingve. Oh. And I told everybody, I said, if we can survive Hollywood with Ingve, we can survive anything. That was the first night of the tour. And by the end of the tour, dude.
Was it tough? I've heard it's a workout.
It's a workout. But I you know what? I can say this, man. You cannot take away from him
His talent.
Yeah.
He is fucking phenomenal. But by like song 2.5, I'm done with it. I'd rather listen to Nirvana. You know what I mean? I'd rather listen to Pink Floyd. But he's amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
I almost had him on my list. I mean,
that George Lynch, the stuff he does with KXM. Have you heard KXM?
Yes.
Yeah. Stuff he's doing with those, like the drummer. Fucking A, that drummer is amazing.
Yeah.
I love KXM. They're really cool.
Do you listen to the Sweet Lynch? The Sweet Lynch
stuff?
Yeah.
One of the insights that I can give to Lynch is that he is the tone chasiest guy you'll ever meet. I mean, and as his tech, it was a bitch because he always wanted to change everything.
Yeah, it's a disorder, man.
Yeah, I mean, on tour, it wasn't like we went out with a rig. It was like, oh, now we're gonna try this. Put this on there, you know, and like it was like, dude, like, I mean, and if it fails, then somehow it's my responsibility. So like, that was kind of wonky, you know, but like. Hey, you know, I mean, he sounded amazing every night, and he is truly one of the legends, man, for sure. But you know, I'm still really good friends with his daughter and his wife, and you know, I talk to him every once in a while, but we don't see eye to eye politically, so I think he thinks I'm a fucking Nazi. Whatever. Anyway,
yeah, I seen him when I was living down there as well. In what 2013,
yeah, he's all over Castaic, man. You know.
Yeah, and I'd seen him down there, and it was good. The show was awesome, you know, and he was really good to the fans and whatnot. But he didn't want to talk to me. No interviews, please. That's basically what he said.
Again, not a lot of gain. Old school, like $16,000 plexi that he borrowed from some. This was just when I was on the road with him.
Wow.
Old guitars, you know, shit that like he just put together.
He's making those guitars now, right? I mean, he's selling.
But the main thing is that like he's kind of responsible for ESP's success because ESP was, which I work for as well, and so they would allow me to leave work and go on tour with him and then come back and still have a job because the president of ESP is his daughter Mariah's godfather. So Lynch originally ESP was just like a custom Japanese guitar company, and he went over there with Dokken and really liked their guitars. And he's the guy that like made what they are now. They didn't have LTDs in those days, you know. LTDs are the overseas versions, and so they he's the one that's responsible. Well, not totally, but he's the one for putting them on the map. And so they ended up kind of becoming what they are. So he would get like pieces from them. Like, I want to change my neck from maple to rosewood. And then they would make him one. And then he started making his own stuff, which I think that they probably see them, and he puts them together and has his own touch. But he's definitely like hands-on, like Eddie, man, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I heard Lynch Mob is done after this tour. That's what I hear.
I think he's done with it. I think he tries to change the name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's interesting. We brought up George Lynch. They're playing here locally at the local Indian casino in Oroville tonight with
how cool
Winger.
This was supposed to be the Nelson panel. That was my joke at the beginning. I totally forgot it.
I threw up a controversial. Well, it shouldn't be controversial. I threw up a post about it last night, Denny. I don't know if you saw it, and my comment was about. You saw that?
No.
Yeah, and it was about Winger and this show, and the gist of it was if you're a dude there and you're gonna be there cheering on Winger when they play the song 17, then you're a fucking pedo.
I know that fucking song that did not age well for them.
But you got to remember, he was like 21 when he wrote it. So
still, that's legal.
I don't know, man. It was just weird seeing a fucking the dude with no shirt, hairy chest, talking about banging a 17-year-old. I mean, it just.
He had it 5 o'clock.
There's something about that. And it got a lot of MTV play. It was like, and I get it, different states. Oklahoma, Justin probably has a different rule, but it's
a little different out here. Kip Winger is a classically trained musician. I mean, like he'll
be on your top 5 bass players.
Yeah, and Reb is an absolutely amazing.
Reb has played Metallica or Megadeth, right?
I think Ken was trying to say something.
I saw him with Whitesnake once.
What were you saying, Ken?
I was saying,
Whitesnake.
Is Reb still playing with Winger? Is he still playing with him?
Yes.
Oh, he is. He's still playing. Yes. He's an amazing guitar player too.
He's fucking unreal, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
he was in Megadeth for a while.
Was he? Reb was in Megadeth.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Doing live stuff when they go on tour.
Wow, interesting.
I believe he was in. Didn't you say Whitesnake as well? Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was in Whitesnake.
I saw him tour with Whitesnake.
With Doug Aldrich, who should also be on this list.
Yeah, there you go. Another great guitar player. Dumb as a fucking post, but on guitar. If you ever watched an interview with Doug Aldrich, sorry, Doug, if you're watching this, but man, oh man.
He's interesting to me because he's got a lot of left hand, a lot of legato, which I don't. I have a fast right hand, and so it's interesting to me to watch those guys with the really quick left hand. Amazing, man. You know. Anyway, let's move on here.
Yeah, my number 3 is Slash. I know it was already mentioned, but Slash to me was like when I was 16. You know, when he was playing, I was just like, "What the fuck?" I never heard anything before, and he was just, that was my those all 5 of those guys were my guys. John can attest to that. Kirk can attest to that. I just Slash is just like I was just like, "What the fuck?" All these sounds.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, and it was kind of bluesy at the same time, and I listen to him now, and I watch some of these DVDs that I have of him with Miles Kennedy and stuff, and it's so good. And I'm just like, yes. And then I went and got that new blues album he has out, and man, it's so good too. And it's things that I would never think. It's just a cover album. The blues album is, but it's so good. And he's got Brian Johnson on it singing. He's got there's all kinds of people on it, and it's just like really
what happened to Ken?
I hope he didn't just drop out. But yeah, Slash is my number 5. Do I need to add him?
He's unreal, dude. I just spent all day recording a track for this top secret band that's not yet released that I literally tried to go out of my way to do my best replication of Slash that I possibly could.
You give him good justice.
I hope, but that's what I was going for, I mean, it's the only thing that I can do because the heavier shit, it's not going to work,
Right.
There he is. But I for sure, dude.
Yeah, he's one of those guitar players where I could put on and I can just listen to. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what album it is. I just throw it on and I just want to chill. It's nothing that I'm gonna get up and go.
And I hate watching people shit on him. It's just like, dude,
I don't see
do that.
Well, when he was a drunk, he was a drunk. Yeah,
but he was great when he was a drunk.
True, but I think he's gotten better now that he's sober. I mean, personally, and I've yet to see him live. I seen Guns N' Roses twice, and he wasn't there.
No shit, bro!
I seen Buckethead. I believe they canceled when they showed up with Iron Maiden. So back in the day,
my first concert ever my parents took me to see Living Color, Guns N' Roses, and the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
Cool.
That's a good one.
I got to see him on
And it
Appetite.
fucking blew my fucking mind
Over.
and changed my life forever, dude.
Yeah. It
Vernon
would have,
Reid,
I mean,
great guitar player, Living Color, Vernon Reid, man.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It should be on the list too.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
right?
Yeah.
You got those clean notes, man.
Ignorant not to mention Vernon, you know.
How much more time do we got tonight? We make it a 15 list.
Anyway, let's move along here.
Who's next?
Justin,
next?
you're number 2.
Am I next?
Yeah,
My
you're
number two is Zach Wilde.
All right.
I've had the privilege of touring with him, living at his house. I've been face to face with him so many times I can't even count. And I can tell you what, he is even more talented than what you hear on record. To sit on a bus and watch him play an acoustic guitar is fucking scary. Chicken picking, shit, rock and roll, metal. I don't even have words. And it's not just because he's my friend. The guy is fucking unreal, dude. And he is blessed beyond belief, and he deserves everything he's got. He's the hardest working man in rock and roll, and I love him. Cool. He is the kindest man I've ever met. He has given me so much gear and equipment and strings. He didn't have to do that shit. Nobody was watching. Nobody was there videotaping it. He did it because he's got a big fucking heart.
Cool.
He is the fucking kindest guy you'll ever want to meet, and he deserves to be where he's at.
Yeah.
You mentioned his acoustic stuff, and for a long time I got stuck in the Book of Shadows. When I first heard Book of Shadows, I've been consumed with his catalog, and I go in and I YouTube and his acoustic stuff. If you think he's just a distorted guitar metal player, that dude, like you said, that dude has so many chops.
Brother, I used to wake up in his house. To the sound of him playing piano and walk down the stairs.
And I was just going to say, Justin, and that dude plays piano amazingly.
I mean, he was the guy that really turned me on to like not using a bunch of distortion. Like on the bus, I wasn't allowed to use distortion. It was
really?
clean. Yeah, he was the guy that turned me on to like Paco de Lucia and John McLaughlin. That Night in San Francisco video. And real chops, man. Like really being able to blaze through scales without any help, without any grease, and like a true musician, and know your shit and know your notes. Like you should know where F sharp is on your B string.
Right.
But like, I should, you know what I mean? And we all should. And he really is a musician's musician. Plus he looks cool and he pulls it off, and you don't have to like every song he ever did and all that shit. And who can you say that about? But like, I know from a firsthand experience that the guy is just fucking incredible and really an amazing human being and a very sweet guy and very into his kids and his family and is wealthy because of what he fucking is able to accomplish, and he deserves every cent of it. So,
didn't they just release Book of Shadows? Re-release it? Didn't they just re-release Book of Shadows?
I don't know. I know that
they did Book of Shadows, and they did Book of Shadows 2.
Yeah, they did the tour. Went to one of the gigs.
Yeah.
I know that everywhere he goes, that everybody always asks, "When are you going to do Book of Shadows?" Then he does Book of Shadows, and then they ask him, "When are you going to do Black Label?" And then he does Black Label, and then no matter what he does, they ask him to do something else. So, like, he just, you can only do so much at one time, and he's got to put it out. And now with Pantera, I'm sure that I don't know really what's going to happen. I think that they're probably.
I was going to say, are they going to put an album?
And I know that there's been some stuff recorded because when they replay those videos, you can hear that it's them live, right? So, but he doesn't disclose that stuff to us. I talk to him every day, but
does he have an NDA?
Huh?
Does he have an NDA?
What's that?
Like a
non-disclosure agreement.
Non-disclosure.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Certain things he can talk
not,
about.
Not only that, but dude, like if you're in that kind of a position and you tell one of your buddies, and we're hanging out drinking some beers or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, bro, fucking,
right.
And it just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you just don't say anything at all, and we're all kind of sworn to secrecy for what we do know, but I don't know anything about that because I'm sure that there is. But I would be willing to.
I would like to see a live DVD personally. Like
I think that's what you're probably going to see, from what I understand. But just from what I know from the music business, and I don't speak for him, and I don't work for that company or anything, but I would assume that business would say, like, why don't you guys write a record?
Right.
I would assume. Right. I don't know. That's all that I know. Mm-hmm. I'm just assuming. Don't fucking quote me. I didn't say it. I don't know, but I would assume, man.
Justin said.
Well, it's all
you heard it here first.
That's right. I got an exclusive, guys.
I'm just speculating, man.
I'm gonna post. Hey, I'm gonna post this shit on Blabbermouth.
Yeah, I mean, it would be stupid not to. Right?
I agree.
It would. A live DVD would be. I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, right. Well, from a fan of all that shit. Like, I am the guy that consumes that stuff. Okay, and so I would assume okay, so I like Black Label. I think they're great. I think his guitar playing is great. I think his songs are great and all that kind of shit. But for me, it's kind of like, if you could take all of your favorite players and put them in one band, it's kind of what's going on. Nothing against Charlie, but that wouldn't have been the guy that I picked, but he's obviously doing an amazing job. That was I was kind of blindsided by that. I was like, really? Oh, okay.
Well, see, I felt that was pretty comfortable just because how close they were with Anthrax,
And they were buddies, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm not really part of that world. I am, but I'm not enough to fucking, know that Charlie was the guy, but those are big shoes to fucking fill. But I mean, I would like to hear what they would do.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think he even said that they would do something under a different banner, under a different name.
Well, they got the blessing from the families, so
Yeah, well, Rita
might as well do something.
Yeah, I mean, you just call it after one of the songs. You know what I mean? Goddamn Electric or fucking
Vulgar Display of Power.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Fuck dude. So.
Fucking hostile. That's what I'm talking about. Kurt, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Mark Knopfler.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like the way he's so clean and clear, and it's just melt. Talk about melt. It just melts. He's just
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
That brings in Richie Kotzen.
Oh, see?
Yeah. Stupid good.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculously good.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you hear and you notice him when he's ever playing. You hear a song of his, you say, "Oh, Dire Straits,
clean, no game,
no game." Yeah,
with his fingers, no pick.
Love it. Yeah,
that's the real shit, dude.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah. Does he play anymore?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't heard anything from. Or seen
I haven't
anything
either. I was like, now that I think about it.
Yeah,
I just think the guys put out some stuff.
That solo in Sultans of Swing,
it's
a brilliant fucking solo. That it's just
timeless.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep.
Very clever.
Timeless.
Every time I hear it, I got to turn it up.
Tell everybody shut
Yeah,
up.
think about when MTV and and that song came out, and this would never fly today. In that song,
Oh, Michael
that
Jackson.
faggot got his own dinner playing that faggot is a millionaire. That was
No,
not
they've already
censored.
cut
That
it.
was loud. It was.
Yeah. It's cut now. If you hear it on any radio station, it's cut.
How about One in a Million?
Oh, yeah.
Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that
One in a million
blew
didn't
up.
even play.
Fucking, yep.
Yeah.
I think I've only heard on, for those who don't know, John here has a radio show called Hesher's.
Yeah.
What is it?
Hillbillies and Hesher's.
Hillbillies and Hesher's. And you're the only show that I've heard.
Bikers in Circle Radio.
Yeah, and you're
Well,
the only one
actually,
I've heard.
I have to leave here. We go on tonight at 6:30.
We'll be done. Tell your girlfriend, Eddie, to be quiet.
You go ahead.
So, and you're the only one I've heard play it. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. One in a million.
Cool.
Because a lot of those songs you aren't going to hear.
Unedited, unscripted. We play what we want. We say what we want.
Which, when I was a kid, I remember listening to that, just going,
We'll throw
yeah.
I can't believe.
It's all about a good time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
we listened to it. We loved it. And we weren't hateful. It was just
Right.
I think that music should still be like that. I'm fucking tired of it. It's it's gotten worse. It's it's more censored.
Keep saying what you think.
Yeah, dude. That's what the whole point of rock and roll is, man.
Well, see, and I just talked to Blackie Lawless last week.
Cool.
And we were talking about the PMRC, right?
Yeah.
So, and he had a lot to say about that as well, as that was more of a political gain than it was, a social gain,
Pushing political agenda.
Al Gore to try and get in the presidency had to have one of the months.
They don't give a fuck about any of us.
Right. Yeah.
No, they don't. Not one bit.
Not one fucking bit. And fuck
they
everyone.
Say they do, but they don't. Yeah.
They
John,
say
what's your number two?
They say all kinds of
Every
shit.
4 years, they say they do.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah,
Anyway.
is it Ken's number two?
My number two, Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Steve Vai.
Seen him a couple of times.
He's the only guitar player that's ever made me cry. The solo for the love of God.
The solo for the love of God
Love of
is
God.
fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got the most. I know I'm going to sound weird when I say this. He's got the most beautiful hands.
He does.
Like they're so elegant.
They're like alien. They're like freaking 2 inches longer than.
I got to meet him. I paid the $300 for the backstage meet and greet, and because I really wanted to meet him, and he signed. I got one of his fucking guitars, and I really wanted to meet him. And I got a picture of me putting my hand up, and his hands, and I got big hands because I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
And his hands were like, his fingers were like that much longer than mine.
Yeah, dude.
It's like monkey hands. They're just fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got some big hands there. I don't want you as my proctologist.
Yeah. Just beautiful, expressive, and like beautiful to watch. And he's very, very. He's working all these different sounds. And
he's so fluid.
Yeah, really something.
Yeah,
from one note to
he's
the
scary.
next. The way he bent. And then, dude, don't even get me started on the David Lee Roth years.
Oh yeah,
I love that stuff.
Double-headed guitar with the heart.
Dude, that whole record, dude.
Meet Him and Smile was like freaking musical acrobatics.
God,
yeah,
dude.
Even like Crossroads when he was played.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The battle,
dude.
I think that's pretty much where we met him, right? And then he was in what was in before that? He was in.
So we add in Ralph Macchio on our list.
When it was him and who was else? Not Doug Aldrich. God, No, he was in Whitesnake with them.
Yeah.
John.
Vivian Campbell.
Oh yeah, he was in
Campbell.
Whitesnake.
No,
Well,
he.
he.
John Sykes.
Oh, Adrian Vandenberg.
John Sykes.
John Sykes, dude.
Yeah,
Oh.
Vandenberg got
John
out.
Sykes. Yeah.
Another
John
great guitar player.
Sykes and Vi at the same time. Oh
Another
my
great guitar
God,
player.
dude.
Amazing
Just-
stuff. Yeah.
Just it don't get no better, dude. I mean, it's fucking changed
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, for sure. I think when Steve Vai came on the scene, everybody was like, "What?" Because I don't think I've really ever heard a guitar talk other than, what the hell? What's his name? One of you guys got to remember.
Oh, you're talking about the live version of
We were just talking about it. Peter Frampton, right?
Oh,
I mean, other than Peter Frampton, I don't think I ever really heard a guitar.
That was a talk box. He wasn't really. That was a talk box. He wasn't.
Yeah.
But I remember
Hey,
Dad
man,
going,
who's over there?
"Yeah, right." Wah. I remember.
You go up on the sidewalk and take a look. Whoa, she's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah.
does the laugh at the with the
Making
with the
cat
whammy bar
sounds and
all
shit.
those tricks. Yeah,
A lot of what Dime did was ripped off of Vi. You know, he'd be like, "Here's the Vi
Yeah.
squeal."
Well, I know Eddie used to do the elephant
Yeah.
Yeah, and the horse too.
and the horse. Yeah.
Shane does that all the time in his sets with 57 Heavy. I mean, in the middle of the set, he'll just rip out a horse.
Yeah. Love it, man.
Galloping.
I'm horse.
Yeah, yeah. I will say when I see Steve Vai, when he makes everything look easy.
It's effortless, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
just effortless.
Dreamy and
some of these-
alien.
The whole,
Well, a
the
lot of
whole
these-
facial thing and the body
Yeah.
thing. Like I read an article where you said his wife says, "Are you him yet?" Because he changes from Steve Vai to Steve Vai, the guitar player. Like it's a completely different persona, right? And she said, "Well, are you him? Are you him?" Because he's got that
He's like,
the looks and the weird sort of faces he makes and all that stuff. It's all part of the package, but I mean, it's
The use of the whammy bar.
Yeah,
I mean,
brilliant.
it's just fucking like, dude.
It's like telekinetic. It's like he's not even
Yes.
touching it.
Yeah,
He's thinking it, and it happens.
yeah,
it makes me want to give up.
effortless. Effortless.
He's like holding it by the handle on it.
Yeah, that's good. Number 2.
Yep.
John, what's your number 2?
Well, I know this is just a guitarist thing, but I would be remiss. One of my favorite bands of all time, and this is a guitar duo. It's not Angus and Malcolm, although they deserve everything. Alan Collins, Leonard Skinner,
Yeah.
Gary Rossington. I couldn't put one or the other in this list without keeping, you know what I mean?
Just
I am such a huge Skinner fan. I got consumed with their entire catalog. Back in the mid 90s, I was bored with, the thrash stuff, and Metallica was, I was like, okay, it's cool. And I watched the documentary, the documentary shit, Freebird the movie, and there was something about, and Ronnie Van Zant was Skinner. He was the driving force, but those two guys and what they did together, and later on Ed King got in there, and he was the third wheel, and he was part of some of those great songs. But man, those guys, the leads that Alan Collins, the first Gibson Explorer I ever saw was Alan Collins. That's the first guy I ever saw playing that big-bodied Explorer, and they were just so. Everything you ever see of them live, their live shows were so fucking tight.
I
They
can't
were
believe
just
that
so
I
good.
didn't think of that. You're 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's just, I dare to say there will never be. I'm sure they're out there, and it's such a tragedy. And I think their names, people hear their songs on the radio, like, oh yeah, Leonard Skinner, but man, they were so fucking good. Alan Collins was so good. Gary Rossington, so fucking good. The songs they wrote, just so good.
Good.
Yeah.
Again, no gain.
Yeah, just no frills, without a net. Just here we are.
No wah pedal. No
Yeah.
nothing. PV amps.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
fucking Gibson, you know,
Fuck.
and their mind.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is
We,
it really is
11
in the hands. You
and
know,
11
it really
notes.
is in the fucking hands. David Gilmour. It's in the fucking
Yep.
hands,
Yeah.
dude. And, you know, and people used to tell
You know,
me
we-
that. I'd be like, what does that mean? Well, it's use your ear. Oh, I get it
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? It really is. It is. It doesn't fucking matter what gear you have, dude.
Yep.
Which one of those 11
Does it
notes? you
sound
use.
good? Does it sound good? Does it make you want to move? Does it move you in any way?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're fucking. It doesn't matter. You know. It just doesn't. Anyway.
We on my radio show, we were lucky enough to get in contact with a guy named Craig Reed, and Craig Reed started out as just a roadie, ended up being basically their tour manager. He was in the plane when the plane went down, and just the stories that guy had, you know, you knew that was a special group of people. They were all family. They all, you know what I mean? It was all about the music. You know what I mean? And yeah, they partied and had a good time. Obviously that happens, but yeah, I just always loved Leonard Skinner. Come on. Again, a band that influenced a shit ton.
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody.
A lot of people.
Everybody, dude.
Pretty much every Southern rock band. I mean, come on.
Even people that aren't Southern rock bands. My buddy Billy.
Yep.
My buddy Billy lives in Mississippi, and he told me he knows the people that own that property that the plane crashed on, and that
Oh, no shit.
yeah, that I can drive down there and go and tour the property. And
There's a memorial, isn't there?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
But it's something
Yeah, there is.
I've been wanting to do since I moved to Oklahoma because I'm a hell of a lot closer than I was. And I just want to stand there. And I don't know why. I mean, it's like that, not the part of Leonard Skinner that I want to remember, but like
when it comes to music and great music, that to me, I use the term a sacred place, you know?
It's just fucking, dude, I can't even begin to say enough about them and that band, and just I fucking worship them. Every time my wife starts playing something goofy, I'm like, put some fucking Skinner on, man. It's just fucking. It's just like everybody likes. You know,
if you have a backyard barbecue, you know, Skinner's on.
Put the Skinner on, dude. You know,
we play. We pretty much. Go ahead, Kurt.
Oh, we were lucky enough to play with Three Doors Down several years back, and they were touring with Leonard Skinner's guitars, and they were proud to do it. They had their guitars
too. Yeah, I mean,
he was filling in for one of theirs, or they were just
they literally had their guitars from Leonard Skinner's guitars they toured with back in the day. I don't know how they got them, why they had them, but they were playing them and were pretty tickled.
Because they're Southern boys. That's right. What's your number 2, Shane?
My number 2. I don't know if this helps with content when I pull an oddball. I see Justin's list changing, and I want to steal some of his. He's got Billy Duffy on there.
Oh, dude.
Hey, there is a Danish band. They were on Headbangers Ball, and that's the only impact they made in America. But they were called Disneyland After Dark.
Oh,
when the whole grunge thing happened here, they got sued. Disneyland wouldn't let them use the name, so now they're DAD, and they kind of went in their own little ecosystem. And so while grunge happened here, they turned into what they are. Jesper Benzer is the name of their guitar player. So they're a great rock band. Their native language isn't English, but their lyrics are. They have my favorite lyricist is that songwriter.
I'm sleeping
But-
my day away.
So they're a rock band, and that guy will have like an old Chet Atkins Tennessee and Gretsch and play these freaking old spanky country tones over this rock shit all the time.
Fuck yeah.
So he's not like the fastest guitar player, but he's super creative. And the guitar, that band just grew over the years to the point I may have a chance to see him in Denmark in January. I'm thinking about buying a ticket.
Wow.
What was the name of
Jesper
that band?
Benzer.
What was the
They're
name of
called
that band?
DAD. And the easiest way to find them, put DAD Denmark or put D.A.D.DK.
What
And
was the name of
there's
that band with Oregon in their name?
what's that?
What was the name of that band?
Floater. They were
Floater.
from Oregon.
Floater.
Floater.
Oh, so the name is Floater.
Yeah, like
Floater.
right in your
And I
toilet.
would listen to Glyph first. Well, if you like heavy stuff, listen to
Floater
Sync.
in the pool.
And that's they get
Awesome.
that joke all the time. I'm sure they
They
love
do.
it, but they're fantastic. I wouldn't change anything. But yeah,
Cool.
Floater and this DAD band, they're great.
They did sleeping my day away, right?
Yes, you are correct. That was their
Okay.
American debut, and from
then
there,
didn't they
grunge made him go away, kind of.
didn't they kind of didn't he have fireworks coming out of his head?
He did all kinds of cool
I'm
shit.
not-
He come out on stage in full flight gear, like he's a pilot, dragging a parachute, and he has a missile in his hands, and he plays a 2-string bass, and there's a hole cut out of the missile so he can get to the strings. So he's got his hands on the back of the neck, so it just looks like he's holding the missile, dragging a parachute on stage. He comes out in full freaking looking like full Roman armor, or
That's cool.
like dressed like a Vegas showgirl. Just the craziest shit. But the songs are good. So they don't even need the comic relief. They're just freaking awesome.
Well, it's like fucking
1-track
Bowie.
mind and a 2-string bass.
Well, Chip Enough played a 2-string bass.
Oh yeah,
So he does
I got to
stuff.
play with him at his show one time. Cool,
Cool.
dude, man.
I
High
think
energy.
they're really underrated. You know, they
Two-string bass?
yeah,
What's that?
two-string
Didn't we play that show together?
Two-string bass? I like
Two-string
it.
bass.
Keep it simple.
That's all you need, John.
bass. Yeah, I mean,
I use the one string just
you
because
can fucking play it all on one string, dude. You know, I mean,
I know. Keep it simple, man.
this is why the drummer and bass player plays.
Hey, my shirt says it all. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So.
it should only have 3 fingers on there though.
Hey, Shane, didn't we play that Enough's Enough gig together? Didn't we do that down at
Oh,
the
yeah.
Okay.
Did you play with Enough's Enough? We played with Steven Adler, and he was playing bass at Steven Adler.
Okay, yeah. We did it.
Hey, I remember that show. I had
was
Steven
enough.
Adler come in.
It was Enough's Enough.
Yeah, hey, what a cool dude.
super
He was
cool
cool.
guy. And
People
those
fucking-
records get overlooked because it was very glammy, but the fucking dude, they're like Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, and let's not forget fucking Rick Nielsen because he should be.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say, Chip's a very big Cheap Trick fan.
of course, yeah. And so
you know,
Enough's
if you-
Enough
if you
is
can't
like
tell
an
by looking at him.
extension of fucking of Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it and I see it, and you know, those records were anyway. Let's move on.
All right, Justin, what's yours? Justin, number 2.
We can make it real quick. We've already talked about Slash is my number 2.
Enough
Wow,
said.
that's a good one too. Yeah,
He deserves to be there.
yeah,
He's incredible.
for sure. I mean, I had trouble. I was thinking, okay, well, my number 2 is Dime, just because I love the way he plays. I love the screeching, the you know. I own a lot of shit that a lot of imports and stuff. I don't even know how I got them. It just I'd go into like a record store or even a thrift store, and there'd be something in there, and I'm like, oh, I gotta grab it. So I got these like imports and single imports and Australian imports, and I the more I listen to it, the better I like it. I have Projects in the Jungle. I have that album. There's nothing I don't like about Dime, you know.
Yeah. I have a lot of really kind of rare stuff, like because with Crown by Fire, we would play Dallas a lot, and everybody down there knew that I was Zach's buddy, so they would kind of they would give me things, and so I've got like so there's this one lady that grew up with them, and we were there to play Ride for Dime, and we went to the gravesite before because I hadn't seen it yet, and she made this like plaque, and it had all these like original photos that she took on it, and it said "Happy Birthday, Dime," and because every year they do something,
right.
And I was like, wow, that's really fucking cool. And she's like, here, you can have it because he can't have it.
Right.
And so I have it right over here in my closet over here. Usually I hang it up over in kind of a small house right now. Somebody else gave me like the cardboard cutout, the life-size cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
I have right here, the same lady gave me these old school.
Yeah. That's the album project.
Yeah, like this is like before Cowboys or any of that shit. I have a red one, a yellow one. So I have a bunch of unique stuff, like almost to the point to where I don't know what to do with it all. You know what I mean? I have so much shit that I'm like, I can't just like Pantera fan.
Well, what's funny is like they came to Boise for Damage Plan, and I got asked we were going to go, and I said, no, we're not going to go. I'll catch them on the next round because it was a school night, right?
Yeah.
So I said, no, I'll catch him on the next round. And within 3 days, he was gone. I don't know if did you guys go to that show, Shane?
I didn't see
at the NIT?
No.
Because I think a lot of people were like, they weren't sure what was Damage Plan. They didn't know how they felt about it. I know that it wasn't my favorite part. I think it's grown on me.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's grown on me a little bit. The more I listen to it, it grows on me. But I'd much rather listen to Rebel.
Rebel meets Rebel, man.
Yeah, that's a good album.
David Allen Coe. What's up?
I was told there's supposed to be some solo album type thing that's been cut up and done and going to be put out under Dime, but I don't know if that's true or not. It's just what I heard. That they have all these outtakes and they don't know what to do with them.
From what I understand, there's nothing.
Oh, really? Which surprises me because he recorded everything.
Yeah, but they did everything very deliberately. Everything that they wrote and recorded was put on the record. I could be wrong. It's just what I heard. I don't fucking know.
Well, there's got to be video because, like I said, they.
I guarantee you everything. There is. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's three damn VHS tapes they need to put into DVDs. But anyway,
I'd imagine, like I said, and again, I don't know, but I'd imagine that there's probably a bunch of B footage and shit, and it's going to be mixed in with a bunch of stuff. I don't know, man. I can only speculate. Like I said before, I would assume.
I mean, I would like to see it as a fan, personally.
Fuck yeah. We want more.
I'd be like, shit, I watched that truck hit that wall how many times?
Yeah, dude, totally, dude. I grew up on that shit, dude. We fucking literally everything we did was based around that, and everything that I do to this day is based around that, man.
Yeah.
I actually have to try to not sound like fucking Pantera. I have to go out of my way to do things to not have that same thing. And it's hard.
That sound, hard. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go. The final round. What's your number one, Justin?
Eddie Van Halen. And the reason why is because Eddie or Dime and Zach wouldn't exist without Eddie. Eddie was a fucking game changer. He changed everything. He built his own guitars. He was the first one to dig into the inside instead of just being, as a guitar tech, not that that's what I do or want to do, but I accidentally ended up doing it. Most people don't. Most people don't know how to level their own frets. Most people don't know how to set up a guitar. Most people don't. They rely on professionals that specify in that stuff to set them up with equipment and gear and so on and so forth. And it's not like Eddie thought it all up. You know, obviously he learned it from other people. But I myself personally have taken very much the same route, and because of him. And I prefer Van Halen is not my favorite band. They're fucking amazing, but you know, I prefer other things over them. They wouldn't be my number one favorite band, but I would definitely say that Eddie was the innovator and the game changer. And he took everything from 70s rock and fucking just to this day, he changed absolutely everything.
Absolutely.
He created the Floyd Rose system, or helped create the Floyd Rose system, so that you could use a whammy bar without going out of tune. Wet, dry, wet rigs. You know, stereo rigs, which Lukather and all those guys in the 80s were using equipment in the studio and wanted to figure out how to bring it into a little live setting. And Eddie was at the forefront of all of it. And I to this day utilize a lot of things that Eddie created, and therefore he's the king.
Yep. He's a fucking genius.
He was a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
again, not a lot of gain. Not a lot of gain. He didn't even use a pedal.
11 notes.
Yeah, say that again, Justin. Say that again.
Only 11 notes, and he didn't use a whole lot of gain.
and he didn't use a pedal.
Yeah, nope. He used his fingers and his head.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good one.
You know, he put a Gibson pickup in a body he bought from somebody, because much like me, he didn't have money, and he put a neck on it and figured out how to intonate it because he had no choice. And I've been in that position a billion times, and he came up with something new and different, you know, and
he taped the piss out of it and just spray painted it and fucking called it good.
Yeah, and fucking called it good, dude. Good reflectors on it.
Born.
And I absolutely love that. You know, I mean, you can't fucking argue. I mean, he changed the fucking game. Period.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Kurt, what's your number one?
So my number one is Billy Gibbons.
Damn it! I was gonna use that.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
he was on my list.
Good pick, man.
Yeah,
revising
another Texas boy.
He's fucking unbelievable, dude.
But he's badass. Yeah,
He's
still going. He's still playing badass.
Brown sugar. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And really, it wasn't until we started covering some of his songs that it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing a lot that you don't really notice.
Yeah. And it sounds simple, right?
He's like picking with his fingers and his pick. It's crazy.
Sounds simple. It's three little chords, right? But there's other things that he's doing in the back there. And it's like, how the fuck is he getting that? Yeah. Cool stuff.
In a three-piece band.
In a three-piece band.
All of that out of three guys. I mean, Billy Gibbons badass, but the entire band and the way they were able to do and stay together forever.
Yeah,
we're one of the only bands to do that.
Still doing it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that in and of itself
is amazing.
Absolutely,
100%.
Crazy.
Yeah. Texas boys done right. I mean, they're gonna go back. I mean, come on, are they in the Rock and Roll of Fame? Because they should be if they aren't by now.
Billy Gibbons should be in the fucking Smithsonian.
Yeah.
When he dies,
they are.
Well, he probably will be.
I think they are in the Hall of Fame. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Ken, what's your number one?
Number one, I'd say I've had to revise my list like 10 friggin' times through this whole conversation. So, I had Eddie as my number one, but I switched it. I put because I love this guy too. Joe Satriani.
Oh yeah,
Big fan of Joe.
Yeah.
You've seen him many, many times. Met him, talked to him, got one of his freaking guitars, all of it. I just think he was a game changer as well. He took some stuff and took it to a different sort of space that everybody was doing at the time. The first time I heard him, I was driving down the 7 freeway heading towards Long Beach in California, and Surfing with the Alien come on the KNAC. If you guys remember KNAC, and I had to pull over on the freeway. I was like, "What the fuck is it? What is this guy doing? Like, what is this guy?" And I pulled over on the 7 freeway and listened to that song on KNAC, and I was a huge fan ever since. I learned a bunch of Joe Satriani stuff.
I think I saw you play it at the Knit once.
I did, yeah. We opened for Robin Trower, and I played Surfing with the Alien, which was, still a big fan. I sort of lost him for a while. I mean, he sort of went off in a weird.
He's playing with Sammy right now.
Yeah, I mean, with those guys, saw him again, touched base with him again, like with Chickenfoot, and then he was doing now he's doing the whole Van Halen thing, right? I mean,
it's hard to withhold a career only speaking with your guitar. But I will say that he was, my dad was a giant fanatic, and
I might be showing my age a little bit, but
I am too, because I would drive around in the car with my dad, and my dad would be playing Surfing with an Alien, and like he was the first dude that like really put out a record that was instrumental
rock.
Yes. It actually was played on the radio.
That was accepted.
Yeah.
You know, and
that was going to be my point. Absolutely.
You can't fuck with Satch, dude. You know, I mean,
and besides that, like you said about like Dime and you know, like he was a genuinely sweet guy when you got to meet him. Very, very down to earth. You know, a little short guy compared to me, but man, just such a sweet, very open. I asked him, you know, like, how do you get that sound on this song? I mean, he walked me through it. He took me through pedal setup and all that shit. I mean,
you don't give a shit, right?
Out of here. I'm not going to bother talking to you. He was very, very open and just a sweet guy. So I got to give it to him for that, because he didn't have to be.
100%.
He is longevity too. I mean, the guy's still.
Yeah. I mean, he's still playing. He's not going anywhere. So.
No, he's still kicking it. He's still doing really good. Coming out with new stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of a guy called Eric Steckel? Just off the top.
I have. He is fucking unreal, dude.
That guy, he's going to be on my list. If we do this again, I think he's going to be
the Mesa Barber guy.
The amps,
yeah, dude. And he's a monster piano player.
Yeah.
And you can tell when he picks up that guitar.
Yep. Really cool
everything is right where it should be, and the notes are impeccable, and he is fucking unreal. And it takes a lot for me to be impressed, and I'm very impressed.
He's got a lot of gain going on there, man.
Well, I don't think he does.
He only has 11 notes, though.
I don't think he does.
John, you're number one.
Well, I just towards the end of that, I remembered that on piggybacking on Joe Satriani, Kirk Hammett took a few lessons from Joe back in the early days.
Yep.
Yeah,
he did.
My number one, and this
you're gonna steal it. I know you're stealing it.
I'm sorry, bro, but it's fucking Randy Rhoads. And
I knew that would be too hard.
He hasn't been mentioned yet.
He hasn't.
But he's,
you know, it's a guy,
I was saving it.
I'm sorry, bro. I'll keep this short and I'll let you fucking continue. But you know, it's a guy who has only 2 albums that
much of an impact
that we know that. Well, I mean, you can go back to old Quiet Riot and you can see all that blah 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 blah. But his real best work was with Ozzy, and for me, and yeah, you could argue that some of these other guys were better players, but for me, it was just, you know, my God, my early youth before Metallica, before Exodus, Gary Holt, before I ever heard Stevie. You know what I mean? Dire of a Madman is
Mr. Crowley.
Arguably my favorite song to listen to of all time. And obviously there's a bunch of other good stuff he's done, D and just all, but Randy Rhoads, man. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, arguably you could almost argue, Justin, that Zach, I mean, Zach had a lot of influences, but you know,
Randy
he gives
everything to Randy. And I have a very interesting story about that because there were some really gnarly fires coming through California when I still lived there. And I told Zach's wife, I said, hey, there's fires on the other side of the valley and the wind's blowing like 75 miles an hour. And they live on top of a mountain. He bought a mountain. And he got his house is on top and his studio is on top, of course, right? So fucking anyway, he goes fucking I tell Barbara Ann, I go, hey, you know, I'm afraid that, you know, it's gonna burn around you. And she's like, no, it's on the other side. But I said, Barb, the wind's blowing 75 fucking miles an hour. You know, and like she's like, it'll be okay. 10 minutes later, she goes, there's a fire like in Castaic, which I shouldn't say where he lives, but that's where it is, which is where we went fucking fishing, Denny.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, right on the street from my dad's house. So anyway, so I haul ass up there and I grab all the guitars that are irreplaceable. And one of the things that I grabbed was Randy Rhoads' vest that Sharon had given him. And I had the original Bullseye, the Rebel, the double neck from the in this river video. I had the 56 Junior that Ozzy bought him. I had all these like fucking original guitars. I had the double neck Alan Holdsworth guitar. I think it's Alan Holdsworth.
Oh, shit.
I had all these. I had like a fucking $1 billion worth of guitars in my bedroom at my dad's house. But one of the things that I had in that room in the closet was Randy Rhoads' vest.
Wow!
And it was like this big. It was tiny. The weird thing about having that is like that sounds like it'd be cool to have like in your possession for a little while, right? But it's not, because what if something happens?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not yours, right?
It's not mine.
So, yeah.
I was terrified. I couldn't wait to give it back because I was like, I can't.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Shit.
Yeah.
You know, I can't be in. I can't. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want anybody to come and steal it. But it was very interesting to be in possession of something like that. You know, and everything else is locked up in storage. And I think that his sister is planning to put it somewhere at some point. I don't really know, because I know his mom was really weird about things and she recently died. So I think his sister
she's taking care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll talk about some of that.
Yeah, maybe you know more than I do because I don't really know. But yeah, man, that was a fucking trip.
Well, Denny, you met her sister at least once at NAMM?
A couple times. No,
Denny,
no,
yeah.
I've known her for a bit, and I know him as well.
His brother.
Yeah, and what they do, and they invited me to his birthday party that they had, because they own his sister and her husband own
a winery.
Correct. So so every year they do a tribute and they bring people in, and I went, and I'll kind of I've been to that too as well.
I went and I won the raffle.
Oh, nice.
No,
you sign your name when you go in, and I didn't know that there was a raffle. And I signed my name, and then I went in and we got a bottle of the wine with the polka dots on it. And we drank it and shit and hung out and whatever and saw some of his stuff and whatever. And then went to work the next day. And then I got a phone call saying, hey, you won the raffle. I was like, what raffle? And then they said, yeah, you can either get a duplicate of his guitar strap or a picture or this other thing. And I was like, oh, awesome. Well, I can't come today. Can I come tomorrow? I should have gone that fucking day because I ended up with the picture because somebody else got the guitar strap. Well, the thing is that Zach gave me one of his Les Pauls, not the Bullseye one, but one of the first like 8 that he had with Ozzy. So I have one of those Les Pauls. I would have had the Randy Rhoads strap to go on the Zach Wild Les Paul.
Nice.
And I fucking waited one day and ended up with a picture instead, which still hangs.
Well, I'm guessing they didn't tell you that you were going to have first pick if you showed up that day.
Yeah, they would have told me I would have fucking left and gone down there, dude. You know, I thought I would just go there and get the strap, but I didn't. Yeah.
All right, Shane, number 1.
Oh, Kurt stole my number 1. So I've been winding between 2. I don't want to throw another oddball. High Watt and a Stratocaster. David Gilmour.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's incredible. That one day he did on the ship.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. It doesn't even count Pink Floyd. It's
it's just crazy how influential he is.
He's so
because he's not a shredder. He's not any of that. He's just
he don't need to be.
I don't even know, what it is, but because I'm not a guitar player, but I mean, he's whatever it is, he's got it. You know what I mean?
Again, no gain.
Yeah.
It seems to always back to gain or no gain.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
I mean, hey, it's just
there seems to be a theme here.
A common denominator, dude.
So if I start a band, I'm gonna have 11 notes, no gain.
No gain, dude.
And
right. That's right.
2 rules.
Hey fellas, I gotta go. I'm gonna leave you with Justin. It's nice to meet y'all.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Ken.
Thanks.
Good to see you,
Danny.
Danny. Okay. Bye, guys.
Have a good one. Yeah, I got to get going here soon, pretty quick anyway.
Yeah, me too. I got it.
Yeah, I figured we end about 8 so we can wrap this up here real quick.
It's been a good conversation, you guys. It really has been a great conversation. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'd like to do more of these eventually.
Thanks, Justin.
See you. A lot of fun.
Totally. Y'all hit me up on Facebook or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was gonna say if you guys want information, whatnot, John would sure to interview. I'm sure on his radio show.
Yeah, I'd love to hear you guys.
I actually, I was hoping. Yeah, I gotta bolt out of here and go do my fucking radio show here pretty quick.
Yeah. We'll be done. We'll be done.
No. Hey, Eddie's there. He can start it. I'll be late. It'll be all good.
It'll be my fault. Just tell him I don't care.
No, I
tell
don't
him you got a new gig. I got a new daddy now.
No, this radio show isn't a paid gig, so they can fire me or.
Yeah. Well, I just like to say that I really like to listen to other people's view.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's what I thought.
As I mature as a musician, especially being like a rock metal guy, like it's really interesting to listen to guys that aren't necessarily like when somebody said Kurt Cobain, it was like, yeah, he had a fucking impact. You know what I'm saying? And it's not something that you can deny, dude. And you don't.
And that's why I kind of wanted to bring guitarists in.
Yeah, you don't have to be fucking Yngwie to have an impact.
Right.
Again, it's about the song and
those 11 notes.
And those 11 notes.
Yeah.
And the gain. Don't forget about gain.
And
A little bit of gain.
And for them youngins out there, turn them motherfucking gain down, son.
Isn't it amazing as you get older? It's like you realize that because you can work with so much, you can do so much with less gain.
Yeah.
If you knew that 20 years ago, think of the amount of gear you would not have bought.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
That's
like
one
the amount of gear that it opens up that is actually usable.
That was one
when
of the
you
things
know that's where you only, if you work with that first 40% of that.
That was one of the things that I learned from George Lynch. He would play like an open G chord, and you could hear every string,
every note. Yep.
And I was like, okay, that should be the starting point.
And if you need more, hit it harder.
Hit it harder. That should be what it is. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it should be even, or an open D. If you're drop tuning an open D, and you should be able to ring out every single string. If you can't do that, there's a fucking problem. If you're playing a metal zone through a crate with a BC Rich, sell it all. You know what I mean? Like,
damn
it needs to sing.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Period. A fucking Les Paul and a Marshall has worked for what, 50 years?
Yeah.
Works
At
great
least.
for me,
Yeah.
I mean, a Strat and a Marshall with a tube screamer or an SD1, it just fucking forget about it.
Done.
Fucking
get her done.
And fucking worry about like what you're playing and not the shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing flashy, right?
It
I
took
think
me
we're all
5 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I get it to you for free.
Hey, I got to bail, you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
me
apologize.
too.
It's been a real pleasure. A pleasure meeting
Nice meeting you, Ken.
Talking
You
to
too.
you.
Absolutely, man.
Man, if you want to do it again, or if you guys want to get together again, I'd love to do it. Talk about some other shit. That'll be great.
Certainly.
But it's been a real
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
pleasure. Talk to you guys later.
Cheers,
Later,
y'all.
Ken.
Awesome.
See you, Ken.
I just realized
I
I'm
gotta-
the owner of the Randy Rhodes strap.
I gotta do the same. I gotta put some pants on and go do my other show.
I got my wife. So
Yeah.
That's fun. That's way more important than what I'm doing.
yeah.
Hey, it was good chatting with y'all. I got some good info. And let's do this again. Can't wait for the top 5 bass players, Denny.
Yeah. Include me on that one. We got a lot to say about that.
Hey, it was good meeting you guys.
I can actually
Good meeting
play.
you, John.
Yeah. All right, man. Until next
Later,
time,
John.
fuckers.
Later.
Later.
One guy is still there.
All right. And then he's
Thought he
back.
was leaving. I guess he's not. I don't know. All right, we can. I know it's been a while. Justin, what's your number one?
Billy Duffy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he said that.
Billy Duffy is my number one. And I mean, there's, the first thing I ever heard was Led Zeppelin. My dad sat me down on the floor in front of his reel-to-reel with his quad Sansui rig. I've got the actual reel-to-reel sitting right here. And what he used to do is he would take all of his albums and he would play them once and he would dub them to tape, and then he would never listen to them again. So my dad's got first pressings of everything Zeppelin, everything Floyd, all the great stuff, that were played one time. And the first thing I ever heard was sitting down in front of this tape deck, and he played me Stairway. So Jimmy Page is a huge, was my first kind of a thing. But as I've grown up and bought, found my things that I like, the Cult just was a huge, huge thing for me.
I'm surprised nobody picked Page at all.
That's to me, it's like obvious. It's almost too obvious. Kind of like Randy Rhoads.
Right.
It's really
Well,
obvious.
and I was gonna say, seeing that, I wasn't gonna do, the best guitar players because it's gonna be Eddie or Randy, right?
Eddie, Randy, they're gonna be.
They're being pinned together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my number one was Randy, because that was the first one that actually there's something about Randy that I always loved watching. When I mean, I was too young when he passed to really understand what was going on because I was still a kid. But when I got older, and then I got to meet his sister, and became family, and then I got to go to those shows. It was just, it's very, when you go to those shows, you know, it's very intimate, right? Because when I went, I'm trying to remember who was all there, but there's a different bunch of musicians there, and they're playing Aussie songs, you know, they're playing the Randy stuff, and it's pretty awesome. And then you could see everything that's inside the winery, and cool. It was very cool. I mean, she, like I said, when I met her, she, you know, I just wanted to talk to him, and then they invite me to this place, and there was a lot of people there that I didn't know, as far as like musicians and celebrities, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm just there, and I didn't take one picture there during that performance. I didn't record anything, and it was just one of them things where I was like, I couldn't do it, you know. I was so immersed in that feeling. I was like, this is the one time where I'm not the journalist, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna do this. And in some senses, I wish, because Frankie Banali did come in and do one song, but and then some other people, you'd know them if you saw them, and I'm trying to remember who they all were. But it was just one of those things that I'm like, and she invited me to a few other things, but I couldn't at the time. And then I ended up moving back to Sac after I had to take Dad to the hospital and stuff when they were in LA. And so anyway, so I drove them back, and that's when I left. But she was like asking me if I was going to come to these stuff, and I'm like, can't, because they also have a thing at the cemetery every year as well that you can go check out. And then, like he's saying, he's like, they have a storage stuff full of stuff, and I know the Hard Rock has asked for stuff, and they were thinking about putting it in a museum because they do have stuff at the winery, but you know, and you get to see his outfits and guitars and stuff like that, pictures, and but there's not a lot of recordings. That's the bad thing.
Right.
So, because I think if there were, I think there'd be a bigger impact than there was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my list started out with the ones you would expect to hear on there. And
that's
I
how
looked at it and I was like, everyone and their dog says this every single time. It's like, you know, and then it's like the list grew, and then it was like, okay, which were the influences? Which were the ones that I really, you know, locked in with? Which are the ones that more recently I've connected with? You know, like I don't know if you guys know who he is, but Chris Buck.
I don't know what.
Chris Buck is a guitarist in a British band called Cardinal Black, and they just did. He's got a YouTube channel. They just did an American tour, and got huge response from their American tour, to the point that he's no longer doing YouTube right now because they're that busy touring. But just from a melodic standpoint and just what he produces on the guitar, I mean, you know, someone made a comment earlier about Vi and how fluid Vi is. Pick any number of videos on YouTube of Chris Buck just playing, and like, just don't even watch him. Just put it on and listen. Go do something else, and you'll end up back in the room watching him, just because it's one of those things. It's like, I mean, the things that he comes up with, just it's like, I was never big into Zappa, but it's like the parts that he comes up with feel to me like things that Zappa would sit down and compose and put a lot of time and effort into, and they just pop out of Chris Buck.
Oh, nice.
You know, he's one of those guys that just, what he plays seems like he's worked on it forever, and it didn't. It just, there it was.
Yeah, there's a lot of guitar players. I mean, Aaron Jones, good one.
Yep.
Is it Aaron Jones or Aaron Jones?
I think it's Aaron.
I got stuck with him in my head for a little bit, and I was like, just Spotify and YouTube, going down that rabbit hole. And he's a good guitar player too.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Ian Thornley from Thornley and Big Wreck is another one that I've listened to a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we could probably go on.
Oh yeah.
So I know everybody bailed already, but I was going to give my number one was Randy Rhoads.
Okay, yeah.
But I wanted to throw in like my dad's number one, or our dad's number one, right? Is Jimi Hendrix, right? My dad's Jimi Hendrix all day. I mean, growing up, all he did was play guitar, and my dad always had a guitar in his hand. I don't think he still plays anymore. I don't think he can.
Well, no, he gave me his other guitar, the one that I got him. Gave it back to me because he can't play anymore. His fingers are.
Yeah, but we grew up with the guitar in his hand all the time, and he used to tell us, another one is Eric Clapton. He likes Clapton. He was and I don't remember. I remember him. He's the Cream. He loved the Cream.
Yeah.
Or loved Cream.
So when I started playing guitar, Dad was like, "All right, yeah, I'll have to sit down and show you some stuff." By the time he sat down and showed me some stuff, I was already better than he was showing it. And I'm like, "I know that. I'm gonna show you some stuff." And then
well, I remember.
I always wanted to get him into recording, like so he could have something to record and listen to of his own self, because he's never had that. Never worked out. Never.
Well, I remember the one thing that which surprised me was Jerry Cantrell, how much he liked.
Yeah, what happened is when I'd play the Unplugged, right, and he just gravitated toward it. He was like, "I love this because I love the harmonies and I love." So he'd listen to it in his bedroom, and the downstairs neighbor thought it was him and I playing.
Well, and I didn't. I'm sure. Now that Shane's gone, I meant to bet my dad loves 57 Heavy. I mean, I've put that on his iPod. Well, now it's probably on his phone, but on his his iPhone
or his
MP3 players. Yeah. And I would put on that, and he's like, "Who are these guys?" And they obviously I was in Boise, he's in Sacramento at the time, and he was like, "They sound so good, I love it." And so I would tell Shane, my dad's one of my dad's favorite bands is your band, and he was like, "Oh," and I meant to tell him that, but and I'm still waiting. If Shane watches this over, that I'm still waiting for the new album. I'm like, shh, he's like, "Oh, I'll send you one." I'm still waiting.
I can tell you this: there has been I've known Shane the whole time I've lived in Boise. Shane and 57 Heavy were the first band that I worked with here, and there has been a lot recorded I moved here in 2005. There has been a lot of stuff recorded that just never amounted to anything.
Right?
I mean,
4 albums.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably enough to do 3 full albums worth of stuff, and it's just never materialized for whatever reason.
Well, I think like he was telling me, when we were texting earlier, right? He tells me, he's like, "I overthink everything," and because I told him, "You're overthinking this, man. You're overthinking it." Because he was like, "I don't know how long do I need to be here," and and I'm like, "Dude, it's only your 5 favorite. Don't overthink it." And he was like, I think he was getting kind of nervous. I'm like, "It's okay, dude. It's cool." But which I thought was funny, since he's a front man and he's a guitar player and he's the ladies' man. So he cracks me up. I mean, I've known him a long time. We have some mutual friends who put us together. I don't know how long you've been in Boise, Justin.
2005.
2005. Okay, I lived there long. So I was thinking, do you know Jeff Watson or Charlie? I forgot his last name. but they were guitar and bass players as well.
Yeah, Jeff Watson doesn't sound familiar.
No. Dwayne Smith? You know Dwayne Smith?
No.
He used to do all the lighting for the big shows. He used to get up on the racks and stuff and doing the rigging.
Yeah.
That stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other guitar players that I used to know. Well, Steve Stetzel, he was supposed to be here. I don't know what happened to him, but you know Deanna and Steve, right?
No.
No?
Names sound familiar, but no.
You probably would have. You recognized him if you saw him, I'm sure. I mean, Boise's so small. Everybody goes to the same shows for the most part. But yeah, this has been fun. You know, like I said, I want to do more of these. So, you know, maybe not every Saturday, but, you know, we'll see. You know,
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Did. It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you can always hit people up if you want to do whatever. So if they're going to hit you up, I don't know. I don't know who's doing what. So anyway, yeah, thanks a lot for coming out and hanging out. And those who did listen, I think we had a record 4 people come in and out, and they'll probably listen to it later on. They're gonna go, "Fuck! How are they talking for freaking? What is it now?
3 hours.
I don't know. 3 hours now.
Almost 3.
About guitars.
I was on one night with some guys, and one of the guys was dealing. He had a heart attack, and then like within 3 weeks of that, he was diagnosed with cancer. And then had a really rough, like, we thought we were going to lose the guy, and started kind of including him, you know, and we were just talking and, you know, talking guitars and stuff. And that just picked the dude's spirits up. And like, he completely flipped around. He's in remission now. We spent, there were like 6 of us. We spent 7 hours doing this one night.
Okay, that's a
and
long.
It went by like it was just, and it was just like
you
guys
can easily do
out.
when talking about guitars. You can easily do that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I said 3 to 4 hours. That was my guesstimate. So I was pretty much accurate, right on 3 hours. And that was just for how many were here? We had 6 people.
Yeah,
you know?
6 people.
There was 2 other, and you know, there's a couple others that were supposed to come in and weren't able to. But if that were the case, you know, we'd have to cut people off and start saying nope, because
well, if that was the case, I would have kept my original ones that were doubled. I would have just said, okay, mine. Because you said Jerry Cantrell, and I had Jerry Cantrell.
I figured he was going to be on your list somewhere.
It was.
So.
But, well, guys, it was fun. I'm going to take off.
Yes.
Thank you.
For sure. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
All right, Kurt. See you tomorrow.
Yep.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
I'm going to end this thing. Later.